Coming up on Be Kind, Let's Rewind.
Today we're covering Bull Durham.
Strikeouts are boring. Besides that, they're fascist. Throw some ground balls. It's more democratic.
You know, like minor league baseball always has like these vaudevillian acts.
Uncle Max is drunk and doing his Triple H impression on the
Yeah.
on the mound again.
I'm going to put on these panties, dude. And that's where we get the rose goes in the front moment where, like, Costner sees him. He's just like,
What? That's hot.
He's like, someone trying to look at my panties. God damn it.
Would you rather I've been making love to him using your name or making love to you using his name? Huh?
Now, if they made this really realistic, then the next scene would be the cops pulling up on a domestic.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Cue music.
Charlie, here comes the deuce. And when you speak of me, speak well.
Welcome to Be Kind, Let's Rewind, the nostalgia podcast no one asked for, with your hosts, Chris, Leaf, and Shadwick.
it's in the script.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Be Kind, Let's Rewind, the nostalgia podcast no one asked for. Today we're covering Bull Durham.
Cocksucker. You're a cocksucker!
Guys, this is one of us as baseball fans, one of our all-time favorites. Anytime baseball season comes around, this is going to be one of the ones that we watch. But before we get into it, make sure you like, subscribe, hit us with 5 stars, buy merch. For the love of Christ, buy some merch. Please! And do anything. You spread the word, man. Word of mouth helps us more than anything. So let's just start off again.
Yes.
Gibbs is back because
Yes, ladies, use your mouth.
yeah. Gibbs is back with us because we finally got enough money. So thanks for everybody that donated to bring Gibbs back. He cut us a deal, but it's a one-time only deal, so we're gonna need more money next time.
Crash must have called the guy a cocksucker.
So this movie is one of those that was a TV find for me. I know probably some people are going to be sick of us saying USA, TBS, TNT, whatever.
Dude, those are the goats, man.
Yeah, but that was like what it was. And I remember watching this. I think my love for baseball probably came to fruition 88 to 90s, especially with the 90s Braves run. So when this one was on, I was just like, is this really what it's like? Also, why is that girl not wearing many clothes and pushing her crotch towards that young man's face? I don't understand.
It's interesting.
Leaf,
But you really want to be a baseball player after that.
but now I was like, God damn, I got to learn how to swing a bat. Leaf, where do you remember first seeing this?
Definitely a USA like find for me as well. It was always on television.
Yeah.
You know, and then spoiler, I didn't really like it. Like I was never like I'm like the odd man out here. Like I'm not really a sports fan. Now
too highbrow for you?
Dude, yeah, it's a little too classy for me, man. You know, I was and so it was always on a lot of times, and I didn't realize it. I think this may have been this rewatch for the research for this podcast, maybe the first time I'd ever seen it uncensored, and I'm pretty sure it was. And
Leaf was like, who's this dame spouting out poetry and shit?
Dude, and let me tell you, it's 1,000 times better uncensored.
Oh,
like,
100, yeah,
way better. I was like,
it makes more sense. You get better. You better read on the characters.
I can't even remember what all they censored out, but obviously the nudity, the erotic scenes near the end.
Erotic. Shadwick, what about you? Same boat?
No, I don't think I watched this until I was probably late to my teens, maybe early 20s, and I've always seen it uncensored. So
nice.
Yeah.
I think that little speech that he gives, when it's him and Nuke at her house, I believe the Costner speech.
Yeah, I believe in the
cock in the pussy.
Yeah, I think
small woman's back.
I think once Chadwick saw that, he was like, you know what? I think this movie's all right. Gibbs, bring us home, man.
It's just like some of the things he's saying is making a lot of sense.
I do believe that there should be a
constitutional amendment outlawing AstroTurf and the designated hitter. I believe in the sweet spot, softcore pornography, opening your presents Christmas morning rather than Christmas Eve, and I believe in long, slow, deep, soft, wet kisses that last 3 days.
Dude, I can't believe you got all that right. Guys. Good job.
You worked on that for 4 hours and fucked it up.
Practice it in the mirror.
So Gibbs, where do you remember first seeing this?
It was probably like TBS. I don't remember exactly when the first time it was, but yeah, I definitely saw it on TV. And what got me to watch it, because normally, like back then at that age, I was like, this is about adults doing adult stuff. It doesn't look interesting. But when in the preview before they showed that scene where they were at the mound, and I was like, oh God, that's brilliant. I gotta watch that.
Dude. Yeah, where they're all doing. And I mean, in Crash Davis's life, which we'll kind of get into some behind the scenes and facts or whatever, but Crash Davis's life led us over to.
Get out of the street, you fucking bum!
One of those saddest things in there. Also, I want to start doing a booze watch for us. I saw what I believe was some Miller High Life in this, or Miller Genuine Draft. He was drinking Jim Beam for sure at one point, and there was some scotch. I couldn't read the bottle. I'm going to really start paying attention to booze, guys, because that's what defines us. So I'll start us off. Today I have some Tito's vodka mixed with Charleston's mix for a Bloody Mary. Someone come on down to Charleston. Some of them words you used to use back in the day, they still fly here in Charleston.
You ride around in your white Escalade.
Yeah. Chadwick, what do you got, man?
I'm actually, since you guys don't know, but we're recording on a Sunday because Chris's work schedule's all fucked up all the time. But keeping with it being Sunday, I'm drinking a little Bible juice.
Oh, nice little wine.
Yeah.
From the Georgia winery, I see.
Yeah, it used to be water, and then that guy got a hold of it.
Yeah. It's called tailgate wine.
I dig that, Jesus.
You drink it at tailgate in Georgia. Leaf, what do you got?
Dude, and keeping up with the Crash theme, bro, I've got a little bit of a hopping frog, dude, because I'm just plumb tuckered out, bro. This is a delicious double porter. I'm not mistaken. I believe this is a 16.8%.
Why are you drinking malt liquor lately? And why are they churching up malt liquor by being like, no, this is a craft beer now?
It's got a cartoon frog, and I'm an 8-year-old mentally, so I'm drinking that shit.
Gibbs, isn't double porter one of your searches in porn?
Yeah. That's
nice.
It's a saved search on
on Gibbs's profile, not Gibby465. Gibbs, go ahead and bring us home, man. What do you got?
Well, keeping with the Sunday Jesus theme, I have Bud Light.
Nice.
And dill pickle vodka.
There it
from
is.
The original pickle shot.
From the original pickle shot. Bring it back.
But no spicy.
No, my store still hasn't been using it.
Yeah, actually, they were supposed to send us some stuff. I was talking to those guys, and I think they watched our podcast, and they're like, maybe we don't send these guys. In our defense, they have shirts that say pickle slut. I figured we were a match made in heaven. Please sponsor our podcast.
They watched it, and they were like, why are they laughing when there's nothing funny going on?
Yeah, that's pretty much it, man.
Because the joke's on you, bitches.
The words brand risk were bantered about quite often in the conversation.
Also, shout out to our Rewinder of the Month, Kiwi. Guys, if you want to be a Rewinder of the Month, be sure to hit us up in socials and hit us up on the comment section. And you, too, could be a Rewinder of the Month. Gibbs, you got a little bit of behind-the-scenes stuff about how this was made. I have a couple of notes here and there, but I'll kind of fill in where you got.
Yeah, so Ron Shelton was a minor league baseball player in the Orioles organization for a few years. He was always worried about getting cut and stuff, and so he ended up getting interested in movies during that time. He wrote a short story, I think, called "The Player to Be Named Later," and it was about a menage a trois between a pitcher, a catcher, and a slutty bitch.
Nice.
And
double porter.
And like the story kind of stuck with him for a while. He started making screenplays, wrote a couple of screenplays that did okay, and then he was a second unit director on a couple of those movies, and then he pitched this movie without a script. He pitched it to several different people, and then they finally greenlit it. So he went out to Durham because one of the producers that he was hooking up with, not like sexually, but you know,
right.
he went out there to
Yeah.
start writing it,
It's Hollywood.
and he came up with this script, and
He was reluctantly hooking up with someone.
Yeah, he was like,
Please, Gary, I'm not from Hollywood. I'm not going to fuck your mouth, and my time is extremely valuable.
it basically he wanted a movie that was basically told from the perspective of the woman. That was like his sell, like what sold the studio on it.
Okay.
Is it was from the perspective of the woman, told by the woman. He wanted it to be about a woman with two guys fighting over her, and she ends up with the wrong guy, and that's the whole premise of the movie is. The woman ends up with the wrong guy, and
I thought it reminds me. Well, I guess this it reminds me of Waiting in that behind the scenes. That dude was in the waiter world and all that shit. So all those inside gags they used to do. So this got same principle. This was first, obviously.
Yeah.
This guy had all these minor league stories, which we'll get to as we go throughout this movie. A lot of these are true. A lot of these really fucking happened.
One of the things that, like, whenever he was growing up, like, his mom's favorite movie was The Pride of the Yankees, and he watched that movie and, like, the Babe Ruth story, and both of those were, like, inspirational and had the big game and all that stuff. And he was like, that's a bunch of bullshit, and I hate it. And so he wanted to make a movie that was, like, the exact opposite of all the sports movies, because he didn't like sports movies. He wanted to make a real sports movie.
this is a... That's what like Leaf, you're talking about not liking it as a kid. Also, when you watch this movie with adult eyes, especially uncensored, like this is a real fucking movie. You know, like this is like, oh yeah, no, this is how life is.
Plus that guy didn't like that his mom was actually called the Pride of the Yankees.
Yeah, that too. Leaf, man, what kind of boring ass facts you got for us there, brother?
Dude, Bull Durham, for those who are uninitiated, is a 1988 romantic comedy sports film. As dictated by Wikipedia. Directed, of course, by Ron Shelton. The film stars Kevin Costner as Crash Davis. Says a veteran catcher from the AAA Richmond Braves, brought in to teach rookie Ebby Calvin Nuke LaLoosh, played, of course, by Tim Robbins. And it's about the game in preparation for reaching the major leagues.
So before we jump into the meat of this, I actually have a couple of what ifs on the casting that we like to do.
What are you calling me meat?
It's got an all-star cast.
I'm driving a Porsche.
Yeah, I'm on a Porsche, man. So this is one of the movies Kurt Russell regrets. He was in the running for it and ended up getting passed over, so much so that I think Costner sold it by taking Shelton to the batting cage to basically like show him, hey man, like I got some fucking swing.
Well, Ron Shelton said that there was really only two people he ever considered. One was Kevin Costner, and the other one was Kurt Russell. Mm-hmm. Kurt Russell worked with him. He was the second unit director on The Best of Times, and he was also the one that wrote that movie, and he got to know him and everything like that. And Kurt Russell was a minor league baseball player,
right?
And so, like,
was Costner also?
No, he was a high school baseball player.
Yeah, I know he loves baseball.
But
he owns, what is it he own now? He owns a minor league team.
Yeah, doesn't he own like the team out in Iowa that plays at the Field of Dreams?
I'm pretty sure,
probably. I mean, like the Russells owned a team too, right?
Yeah,
like I think that's the documentary, the Battled Bastards of Baseball. It's a pretty fun one. So
yeah,
but on Netflix.
Kurt Russell ended up getting back at Ron Shelton during the filming of the thing because they were having trouble with the producers wanting to change things up and stuff like that. And they're like, "This isn't working with it." Like, he got a phone call one day, and it was like, "Hey, this is one of the producers. We're looking at the dailies, and Kevin Costner's not working out. We're gonna have to replace him with Kurt Russell." And he was like, "What are you freaking talking about? We've already shot most of this movie. This is going to cost so much money, so much time, and everything like that." And it was Kurt Russell playing a joke on him.
That's amazing.
I heard that like he went to. It's not true, I don't think, because I heard he went to do like Big Trouble in Little China instead of this. But that was like 1986. So that was earlier than this. But that's an excellent movie. By the way,
he was doing a bunch of like those John Carpenter films, like Big Trouble in Little China.
They would have been filming at the same time, though.
Close.
They may have been though, because that's what I heard. Like in
Tim, instead of Tim Robbins, Anthony Michael Hall had a shot at this. He showed up 30 minutes late, flexing Hollywood nut, and blew his audition. They also considered Charlie Sheen for Nuke as well.
Yeah, one of the main reasons why Charlie Sheen didn't get the part was because he was already committed to Eight Men Out, which was filming around the same time. And Anthony Michael Hall was being a douche. He even got a second chance and still blew it.
And still fucked it up. Yeah.
Didn't Major League come out in '89? Right.
I think so.
Yeah.
So he got to be Charlie got to be a pitcher anyway.
Well, I mean, he was
and
in
a
Eight Man Out, right?
Yeah, he was in Eight Man Out, and he was in.
Yeah, and a douchebag, but yes.
But he was a much more minor player in Eight Men Out than he was.
But dude, let's go ahead and get over into the actual opening scene here, man, because this is an awesome montage, at least to this point, of baseball history.
By the way, the film had a budget of $9 million and pulled in a delicious $50.9 million.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a profit on that.
With the unknown of, the syndication, the movie rentals, the syndication had to be fucking insane on this.
Yeah.
How often this movie was played.
Yeah, this was a movie that as it's a rarity, but it opened up pretty big the first week and it just got bigger the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
Usually it drops off by like 50% the second week, and this one word of mouth got
Word
around.
of mouth, yeah.
Is that what happened with that new Snow White movie?
I was waiting on it. There it is.
I mentioned it, Chadwick. Don't worry, we'll get them. All right, so the film opens up with a montage of old baseball photographs. And immediately, all baseball fans, I can't imagine, again, I'm not really counted among them. I do admire, I played it in Little League. I loved, participating in the sport. But even I was like, man, some of these photographs are just really
Pete Rose
insanely
slide
cool.
photo fucking goes hard. Like, every time. Like that. Good old Chuck Hustle.
It was,
there's burn in hell forever.
There are kids playing back alley ball. There's obviously pro games, Pete Rose kind of among them. And during this is where we get the first voiceover of the film. I believe, as Gibbs mentioned, they wanted this story mostly told through the perspective of a female, and that female, of course, is Susan Sarandon, legendary actress. She plays the character Annie Savoy, and in this voiceover, she narrates her philosophy on baseball and life straight from the beginning.
I prefer metaphysics to theology. You see, there's no guilt in baseball, and it's never boring, which makes it like sex.
Hey, Gibbs, so we were talking about Susan Sarandon last night, the three of us. I'm interested in your take. She is not actually all that pretty, but very attractive
in the
somehow.
traditional
I would say
sense.
she has a sexiness more than an attraction.
Right, that's what I said.
That's what I said.
Yeah, sex appeal about her. I mean,
also, like,
great.
after seeing her in Rocky Horror Picture Show, I'm like, whatever.
Yeah. She's like, what did you do to our son, Donnie?
I guess the way she delivers her lines, just, I don't know, southern,
every single
sexy.
time she says, "Oh my."
But this is also one of those, like, where the woman's in control for this, like, the entire time. Like, this is definitely not like this is her being spun in a pretty positive light. Like, and also I do like the description of church, like it's a religion and all this stuff. Like, she just really, I don't know. I've always been a fan of hers. Also, another shout out. That's my boy. Go watch her. She's in that too.
Yeah, she describes it as the church of baseball. She evidently grew up her entire life studying philosophy. She loves, obviously, writing. She's a huge fan of authors. Throughout the entire movie, she quotes Walt Whitman and various different authors and poetry writers.
Gordon Wood.
And but she said
Wood
she basically
drastically underestimates.
She finds basically solace in only one thing, and that's her absolute love for baseball and the penises that play them, play the game. She's not a big fan of Jesus, of course. Spoiler alert: she is a whore.
Which is weird. Which is
by
weird
necessity,
because Jesus would have hung out with her.
We cut to the ball field and we find out the movie takes place in Durham, North Carolina, home of the minor league team, the Durham Bulls. The Bulls.
Bears.
Hey, what is that team now that just had that new logo come out? The clam traps or something?
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a minor league team that's like the clams, and it's like an oyster in the middle of the clam. Like, it's look,
what,
dude? I know, and a dude probably designed that, and but that actually leads me over to shit stuck in my head this week.
Hey, Tyler, are you on your way to algebra?
Yeah, I'll see you there.
You're awful!
The preceding joke was brought to you by Men.
Men, we don't know what we did.
So there you go. There you go.
Was it the Chatham clams?
We don't know what we did. Yeah, So, anyway.
I'm gonna hit the clam. I'll meet you guys at the bar later.
Giggity.
The very next scene is an introduction to one of the main characters, of course, Ebby Calvin LaLoosh, played again by Tim Robbins, who's butt naked with his Dewey Cox style hairdo, just the entire film, dude. This is the '80s, the end of the '80s, and it's just perm, dude, and all it's like large glory. He looks like a
he's having relations.
Ebby!
With a young lady, but I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know what it is. Still watching this movie back, Millie does something for me. Whew.
It's probably near nudity.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Well, that
I don't know what I did.
That and she kind of has, that voice too, kind of like the with the Ghost of Christmas, whatever. And
yeah, dude, 100%. Little tiny blonde, and I don't know, man. She's
it's just like that
smoking.
That cute innocence. I feel like, even though she is an absolute prostitute, like
her daddy's got money. I mean, she has her pick of the litter.
She does. She's young, attractive, and Tim Robbins is having sex with her in the locker room before a game. And it's just
for his major league debut. He's got 3 minutes before he's supposed to be on the field, and he's banging away on a girl in the locker room, all 1980s and 90s baseball.
He's probably still banging on Darla.
Yeah, so if you need any reference to this, just watch any documentaries on the 80s Mets, and this also happened in Major League Baseball.
Yes, yes, and so he's doing that, and this coach is basically like, get your ass out on the field, and he does, and we learn immediately this guy is a potential for the big leagues, the show as it's called in this particular movie, but he has no control. He's just wild and he's throwing pitches, he's hitting the mascot.
But it's the same. I mean, we repeated this in Major League. It's because it's a true statement. There's a lot of guys that get signed to Major League contracts off potential arm talent. Hey, can we find a way to reel that in and give you control?
And I love the quote that they have. They said a couple of times here. I think the coach says it, and then Crash later on. It's $1 million arm with a 50-cent head.
Yeah, and he actually is retarded. He's so stupid. It's amazing. How stupid he is, dude. Yeah. It's his lines. And Tim Robbins is obviously legendary actor. This is before Shawshank Redemption. But I'm telling you, dude, he's so stupid.
Well, and he's written that way, and he plays it so fucking well. But the thing is, it turns out
it's really out there, man.
That in reality, he was really cerebral. He was very smart. He was the intelligent one, and Kevin Costner was the meathead. He was the dumb one.
Oh yeah, man.
And so they were playing opposites of who they really were in real life. Right. So the performances were fantastic.
So
Costner's a meathead.
Yeah.
Really?
He's a big sports guy. He's gonna own a big sports bar one day. So they also said that.
He'll probably do okay.
Yeah. They said that Tim Robbins claimed on one interview I read that he actually hit 85 miles per hour in this. Shelton completely dismantled that as a myth and was like, no fucking way. Anyone that watched his windup, which if you watch his windup, there's actually major league players. I forgot. Gibbs, you remember that one dude that used to look away from the plate in his windup and then would swing his head? Every time he looks up or whatever, I'm like, you guys are supposed to be helping this fucking kid. How about you make him look at the goddamn plate when he's winding up? But I mean,
never mind. We'll get to it.
Yeah. Anyway, so he comes out and he again, it's his first start or whatever, so he's going out to do his big thing, and
he's just not good, man.
And he's not good. No control. He's throwing the ball everywhere, and we don't have any control. And then enter the solution to this problem.
Who are you? Who's he? I'm the player to be named later.
Crash Davis. I'm Joe Riggins.
That's right. Back in the locker room after the game. Enter veteran catcher Crash Davis. Kevin Costner arrives after being signed to the team. He's obviously a grizzled, nearly washed-up veteran of the sport. He's been sent down from the upper minors. Like, can y'all explain what the hell?
It's different now. I believe it used to be just single A, double A, and triple A.
Okay.
Now there's a rookie ball, and there may be a 1A, a high 1A or whatever. They've really streamlined it. So AAA is right before the minors. Basically, everyone's sitting in AAA. You're about to, is right before the majors.
AAA is like the doorway to the majors.
Correct.
Single A is your doorway to unemployment.
So when he got put down to this, if you're a 30-something-year-old dude and you get sitting down to single A, like the clock's about to strike fucking midnight, and you're going to turn back into a pumpkin. So that's why he's pissed off when he gets there. He's like, "What the fuck?" But when they wrote
fucking game.
Yeah,
fuck it, I quit.
When they wrote this, they thought they were naming that character after a deceased minor league player, Crash Davis. Turns out that fucking dude is still alive.
Yeah. So whenever he was like researching, he was touring the facility, and they saw in the records that a guy named Lawrence Crash Davis was had the record for most doubles in a season, which was like 50. And Ron Shelton was like, "Well, that's way more than me. Plus, I love the name," so he stole it. And he's like, "That guy's got to be dead." And then after towards the end of the movie, while they're filming, he gets a phone call from this guy, and he's like, "Hey, I hear you're making a movie about me." And he's like, "Oh no, it's not about you."
It's not about you. Yeah.
And he was like, "But is it okay if I use your name?" And he was like, "Well, do I get the girl?" And he's like, "Yeah, you get the girl." So
seriously, that's it. Cool. He was cool as long as he got the girl. He's like, "All right."
It's like we're actually making a movie about a whore, and you're just one of her ding dongs.
Yeah, he's one of her many conquests.
He was like, I don't know who Kevin Costner is, but my daughter says he's cool, so that's fine.
That's so funny, man. It's a funny story.
So I got a question before we go any farther. Is this a real thing? Did they really get veteran catchers to help new pitchers?
Yeah. They did that quite often.
This was based off of something that happened quite a bit, I guess, when Shelton was in the minors, and read about it that it would, because you basically are just looking to put a mentor. Plus, a lot of catchers end up being coaches. I don't know what it is. I guess it's just because you're calling pitches. You have to understand the game a different way.
Yeah, it doesn't, especially
translate over
when people are stealing bases and things. I feel like correct me if I'm wrong. Again, I feel like the catching position, you have a lot of control of the game, or at least visually, you have an eye on the entire
you see
game.
Everything. Yeah,
the catchers, especially back then, they did all the research on the batters, so they knew what to throw, when to throw it, and all that stuff. And they called the game, and the whole thing was just to get the pitcher out of their own mind, so they would just listen to the catcher. And he was brought in to get him mentally prepared, give him maturity and everything. So you get an old wizened veteran to come in.
Right.
Well, my AAA contract gets bought out so I can hold the flavor of the month stick in the bus leagues. Is that it? Well, fuck this fucking game.
So he is obviously not happy about this, because he is old. He's aging. What is he? You guys see, he was like 33 years old, and he doesn't want to accept the end of his run, and he realizes it's coming, right? Like this is
what's kind of funny too is when this was shot, Kevin Costner and Tim Robbins. Kevin Costner was 3 years older than Tim Robbins. That was it. But you see it as the way he plays it, his Tim Robbins body language or everything, it just really reads as a kid and an adult. Well done, Tim Robbins.
Yeah,
Dad.
Whenever
well done, Dad.
He hits that first guy, he's just like,
yep, I know.
He's so clumsy. Yeah, dude. Here's my favorite part is he's apologizing for hitting people and throwing wild pitches, but he's also just a goofy side grin too.
I know,
Yeah, Tim Robbins is
he's like, I don't know what I did.
And even after Costner kind of forces him to start just going with whatever pitches he calls, he's still kind of being a dick. He's like, yes.
I know, yeah.
Yeah,
like it's good body language in this. But man, so yeah, he tells Costner's basically like, I'm fucking out. Like he's pissed. He's going to quit. And then
walks out, man.
He walks out,
but the two coaches know that he's going to be right back, so they just sit there and wait for him, and he's like, all right.
Yeah, he leaves and comes back, and then so he's like,
who we play tomorrow?
Winston-Salem. Batting practice 11:30.
He does a spin in the locker room and then immediately comes back because he knows because you can see that going through his mind because he's like, I could just quit now, save my dignity. You know, I realize like I'm washed up now basically, but I don't want to come down here and accept this garbage offer just to keep playing baseball. And he leaves and he kind of paces around. And he's like, dude, like he loves the game so much. He cannot stop. And I don't know, like Chris could speak on this. Like I feel like there's like so many wrestlers. And I feel like it's one of the professions where people are allowed to just not let it go well past their time.
It's the live sports or live entertainment. You get this with actors on Broadway. It's the immediate gratification. So it's like you tell a joke, stand-up comedians too, right? So you tell a joke, you get a laugh. You get a base hit, you get a cheer. You know, you're a heel, you get booed. That's like the reaction you want. It's you playing to a crowd, and it's this instant gratification you get off of that, and that's addicting.
You think that's what it is for baseball players?
I think
it's just an actual love for the actual game.
Well, I mean, but that's part of the game, right? Like, I mean, if it's the love for the game, then they'll go play slow pitch softball and not have a problem with it. But
I'm sure it's different for everyone.
They want to be. I mean, you want to be in the majors as long as you can, and it's all you've known, right? Like if that's your young adult life. Like Ricky Henderson famously played in semi-pro ball. Like after he was past his prime, went down to the minors, was taking minor league contracts with whoever because he didn't want to go.
Yeah,
like he never wanted to stop playing. He said one of his Ricky Henderson, like one of his teammates went in the Hall of Fame. I forgot who it was. And Ricky said, I hope I never do that. And they were like, why? And he was like, 'cause that means I'm done playing. Like, he just wanted to play that much.
So after Crash accepts this terrible offer just for the love of the game, he is now responsible for training Tim Robbins' character, which I will refer to as LaLoosh until we get to his nickname and the why. So they all go to a bar like after.
Dude, this used to be before, dude. I'm telling you, before cell phones and all kinds of shit. Pro players used to do this. Like every major league team in the 80s and 90s, and probably even part of the 2000s. Like going to the bars was part of being a player. Like you would go hang out. That's where you bonded with your teammates.
Even in the major leagues, they would do that.
100%.
That means you could just go down to a bar and just like meet.
Which was part of. Dude, my Uncle Johnny drank with like several 49ers linemen and shit when he lived in San Francisco in the 80s.
The great thing about like the 80s
drank every one of them.
Everything was so like analog and stuff like that. It was grainy. There was no HD TV, so a lot of these people could pass. Since they didn't have their uniforms on, people were like, hey, you look like Dale Murphy. And he'd be like, I'm a Mormon. I'm not in a bar.
He's like, I'm at temple. Will you leave me alone? Heavenly Father wouldn't approve.
And every bar looked like it was named like Dukes or
Oh, dude, like every movie, it's
Licks,
like the same one. Yeah,
Four Aces.
But yeah, man, they used to do this back in the day. So this is also a nice little thing. But yeah, you get the dancing dude is in this, right? Like, is this where Annie's sitting down at the table?
Oh yeah. Uncle Max is drunk and doing his Triple H impression on the on the mound again.
Come on, folks, let's hear it for Max Patkin, the clown prince of baseball.
Yeah, Max Patkin, who was he did this. He was called the Clown Prince of Baseball.
Yep.
And he used to be a baseball player, and he ended up retiring to become this whenever he faced Joe DiMaggio in an exhibition game. And Joe DiMaggio took him really deep, long home run, and he chased him around the bases with his and throwing his glove at him and everything like that. And that was the biggest applause he got in his entire baseball career.
Everybody was laughing. Yeah, everybody was laughing, and he's like, "Oh shit!" Like,
so was this the actual guy?
Yeah. This is actually
okay.
Yeah.
So he was
That's crazy.
He was what is he called? The clown.
The Clown Prince of Baseball.
He's called he got that moniker from the Baseball Hall of Fame when they were shooting for this. So he has that patch on his thing or whatever, but he had the question mark on the back of his jersey, and he would just do fun. He's basically like the San Diego Chicken or, all the other minor league shit, but he tour a bunch of minor league stadiums doing his shtick, and everybody was like, Brian Ballard's drunk again.
For those who haven't seen the movie, like he's not in a suit or anything. Like he's just a guy in like a loose fitting, like old timey
extra large baseball uniform. And
and he's making crazy faces and just acting
it's
out.
Fun. I mean, it's especially for kids. I mean, it's
Yeah, I mean, it's just back to
pretty toothless stuff, guys. Come on.
Yeah, it's one of the charms of minor league baseball. Minor league baseball always has like these vaudevillian acts that would travel around from stadium to stadium, and
that's what I loved. This movie reminds me, anybody that grew up around here, we had Ingle Stadium, which is historic Ingle Stadium. They filmed
42.
42 there. But this is the green in the locker room or whatever. That's how a lot of stadiums were. That's how Ingle was, like the green brick and everything around there. It just reminds me of being a kid at a minor league stadium again. It's just fun.
Yeah.
And now I just get blackout drunk.
Which is also fun.
And that's fun too, yeah.
Yeah. Just a little less innocent way.
The scene at the bar is unusual to me watching this because I just forget like what the 80s were like. There's like a guy on the dance floor with a fully lit cigarette, dancing, and I'm just like, dude, even in the 80s, like you were gonna burn somebody, man. Like it's
Tim Robbins' character, he's cutting it up on the dance floor. Here's a note that I found out about this. Do you know who choreographed this dance?
I do.
Janet Jackson. Paula Abdul.
Yeah.
No way, dude.
And she got mad.
The producer had told her if she did it, she would get a speaking line in the movie. Didn't tell Ron Shelton, and so she went up to Ron Shelton. She's like, "Hey, the producer told me I could have a line." He's like, "Okay, you can be the waitress." And she was like, "No, that's not good enough," and stormed off. Pissed.
She's like, "No, I want to be whore number 3."
Dude, she talked good and everything.
She did a horrible job choreographing this scene because those people suck at dancing, man.
What was that little chicken wing thing?
The second you start doing a chicken wing dance, man, like only people that are allowed to do that are football players.
I cannot believe that dance was choreographed. It's so bad, and I thought it's meant to be bad because
but it's meant to be bad. I guess.
But where's she now? Nobody knows. Nobody gives a shit about this bitch.
She's in the bottom of a Xanax bottle.
Allegedly, that's ignorant.
I mean, just straight up, guys. Tell me,
yeah.
Dude, it's just a wild kind of party. Everybody's like having a good time, and when there comes to the important scene here, where Tim Robbins basically he sees Annie, Susan Sarandon's character, from across the bar, and Tim Robbins LaLoosh.
He sees her. He takes 2 steps toward. 2 steps forward and 2 steps back.
2 steps back. He comes.
I'm dressed like a cat.
He comes face to face and asks her to dance, but
she's dancing with me. Afraid not, pal.
He bought her a beer, dude. That entitles him to having sexual relations with Susan Sarandon later on that night.
They really hone in on how he's like been in the minors forever, because even like the clown prince of baseball is like he's been in more minor league stadiums than me. Like,
Mac's like, hey, Crash, come on over.
Exactly, yeah.
Which Annie kind of likes because like she's sort of like this baseball aficionado too. I don't think anyone realizes it, but like she's obsessed with baseball, so that kind of actually intrigues her a little bit.
I like what Max says about Crash. He's like, I actually saw him reading a book without pictures once.
Basically,
she's like, oh my.
But so Crash and LaLoosh get into it. They're gonna fight, and Crash is like, all right, fucking basically, lesson number 1 on deck. They go outside. I think he has a line of,
look, I don't believe in fighting, all right? Let's just... That's really sweet.
People are around LaLoosh being like, ooh. Yeah, it's really high school shit, you know?
But so Crash, I think the whole thing about Crash stepping in and interrupting the dance proposal, I think was just to aggravate LaLoosh.
Yeah.
To get him outside. Because this is going to be his introduction to him, basically.
Yeah.
So he's like talking shit. He's trying to get him to fight, and the guy's like, "No, I don't hit a man first."
Yeah,
whatever. And he's like, well, hit me with this baseball, man.
And then he's like, do you always carry a baseball on you? And he's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going on there, dude.
Happy Gilmore.
He's like, I'd kill you, man. He goes, really?
From what I hear, you couldn't hit water if you fell out of a fucking boat.
Yeah,
that's
dude,
one of the best lines.
I love the fucking high school. Ooh,
yeah.
Like,
oh, man. Everybody's goading him on because they want to see a fight.
And he finally gets mad enough, and then he just fucking fires it, and just a bit outside.
Tried the corner and missed.
Oh, I got a good idea about that 5-cent head of yours.
Nail it. Drop him.
Yep.
He misses, and LaLoosh learns a very valuable lesson, and the dynamic is instantly established. Crash is the mentor. LaLoosh is the hot-headed idiot, young, fresh piece of meat, and
much like we've talked about in past episodes, he comes at him. Crash fucking socks him one. LaLoosh on the ground. He's like, nice punch. And it's like all of a sudden dudes are just friends now because we're just fucking.
Well, wait, that was really good. Are you sure you're not Tim Robbins?
Yeah, when he was like, he's like, I'm your new catcher, and he's like,
My new catcher.
He's like all stoked about
and he's
it.
happy about it. You
Yeah.
know, he's like, this is cool.
Yeah, we had a fight. He humiliated me. We punched each other. It was,
and that's
a
such
good
a
tussle.
real thing too.
Yep, that's a dude thing. Go
Yeah,
watch our
that-
playground episode.
Absolutely.
but man,
After the fight, they return back into the bar as mentor and student, but also as loose friends. And there's nothing left to do but for Annie to invite them both to her apartment to have sex with them.
yeah, he's got to go to their apartment for the tree outs, you dummy.
Yeah.
To which Crash is like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
Is that a double port?
That's a double porter.
It's a
Yeah.
double porter, dude. That's a hopping frog if I ever seen one, dude.
Yeah, man. So this is pretty funny because this is where you get the Crash kind of figures out what's kind of going on here when they're sitting down on the couch, they're talking, and she's being super snarky, super like she's very well educated, obviously because she's a substitute teacher like Peggy Hill. So she's
poor favor.
Yeah, she poor favor.
It's really important because she lays out like the stipulations for their relationship.
Yeah,
and basically she's like, listen, I am a whore, the town whore in this small town,
well,
but
for
I'm
baseball players.
For baseball players only, and I'm gonna only sleep with one of you. Like and immediately Kevin Costner isn't having it. He is my boy this entire film, and he's not having it. He's just like no. And like Chris said, he delivers probably the best line of the film in my opinion.
Well, I believe in the soul. The cock, the pussy, the small of a woman's back, the hanging curveball, high fiber, good scotch, that the novels of Susan Sontag are self-indulgent, overrated crap. I believe Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. I believe there ought to be a constitutional amendment outlawing AstroTurf and the designated hitter. I believe in the sweet spot, softcore pornography, opening your presents Christmas morning rather than Christmas Eve, and I believe in long, slow, deep, soft, wet kisses that last 3 days.
This is one of those speeches that I wish I could remember.
Yeah.
And the speech Ron Shelton wrote, because that was, he said that in order to get a big star to do your picture, somebody that like a bankable star, you have to have a great speech at the beginning of the film for them to do. Otherwise, they lose interest and they don't want to do it. So he was like, okay, I need to come up with a speech.
This
what
dude's
can I do?
fucking smart.
And so he just started rambling, like ranting off shit that he actually kind of believes in, And
so he wrote the script too. Like he didn't have. They didn't
he
have
wrote the whole thing.
screenplay writers or
No,
anything.
he wrote.
No one else
he was
is
a writer.
credited him.
This dude wrote Tin Cup, The Best of Times.
No shit.
Christ, I
Yeah,
didn't
Cobb.
know
Blue Chips. Like this dude is like a legit great writer. Like he is a fantastic writer, and that's kind of like how he got in. He got his foot in the door as a director because he was a second unit director on 2 of the movies that he wrote. So like that's how he got in as a director.
Wow.
So like the dude is
to our podcast.
Yeah.
Mr. Shelton. That's awesome. I didn't know all that, man.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, he's still alive.
Yeah, let's get him on the show.
Let's get him.
He's not happy about the remakes of what's it called?
Once we send this love
White Man
letter
Can't
out.
Jump. He wrote White Man Can't Jump and directed.
Are you
What the fuck?
Oh.
Jesus
I don't know if he
Christ.
directed, but yeah, he wrote that White Man Can't
Yeah,
Jump.
well,
I mean,
wow.
but he was pissed off about that remake. They're trying to do like a TV show of Bull Durham, and he's like, nope. But he didn't have any control over it.
He said he did. I think Costner and Robbins and everybody kind of kiboshed a Bull Durham 2 as well. They were trying to do that, and I think why fuck with it, right?
Yeah.
Plus, I think too, a lot of times those sequels, like Gibbs, you just listed out all these scripts, all these iconic scripts.
Yeah.
More importantly, this dude's written. I feel like when people are actual writers, like as in like that's what they enjoy doing, they write a lot, they're more likely to leave it alone.
Yeah. When you get to direct your own stuff, you have control over your original vision. Most screenwriters, when they see the movie on screen, they're like, that's not what I wrote.
Exactly. And so, and again, like it's an easy cash grab to go grab a sequel because you're at least going to get box office buzz off the first week. You'll make money, but I like when dudes stick to their guns like this. So anyway, iconic speech, like Gibbs said, written. So Costner said, hell yeah, let's do this. And he bails. And now we get LaLoosh gets the new nickname in here.
Yeah,
he does. She ties him up, and we think we're about to get an erotic sex scene, but she pulls out a poetry book and starts to read it to him while he's tied up, in the bed, and he's expecting obviously a
coitus,
and it cut to the next day, and he's showing up late. He's hungover. You assume he just had the best night of his life. And everybody's just like, hey, LaLoosh, what's going on? He's like, call me Nuke. That's what Annie wants me to be called. And already you can see this idiot, he's so stupid, man. He's extremely talented, but he's easily manipulated. This woman has her claws in him. She's already manipulating him and changing him, in ways she wants him to be. She gave him his nickname. Now he wants to go by it. He evidently, according to his own profession, he stayed all night to get read poetry tied to a bed.
Yeah,
which he said was much more exhausting than
actual banging.
He might not be banging right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Shadwick can give him some. Shadwick can work on him not pulling his hips.
Right after that is Crash's first time at bat in film.
I love this as anyone that's ever played sports.
Foul ball! Stupid fuck, Crash. Swinging at a breaking ball. Fuck.
Where you are in your own fucking head. And you can't. It's some days you're just out thinking yourself, and you're like a baseball player. I can't imagine what these motherfuckers are thinking going up to the plate. Now, with everything these dudes throw now, what are you looking for? And it's just he's second guessing it.
Mine came after I took a high fastball to the collarbone one time.
Oh.
And I was never right after that.
Shadwick did have that one where she was like, I'm pregnant. And he was like, oh, shit, is this a slider or was it a curve? Or
We ended up playing stickball in the back alley after that.
Yeah, nice.
Stickball.
Nice.
But yeah, man, so he's really having these conversations in his head, and he's thinking about Annie, and then he strikes out, and then
I'm gonna give my opinion about this film right now. I'm just gonna do it and get it over with. I think there's three main factors of this film, main themes, right? And one of the first is obviously the psychological overthinking of things. Mm-hmm. You see it throughout the entire film. It's something that Nuke has to deal with. It's something that Crash has to deal with. It's even something that Annie deals with as well.
Yep.
Everyone seems to be in their own hands, and they sort of overthink everything. That's one of the main themes. The other is obviously sex.
Something that Roy McAvoy has to deal with in Tin Cup too, right?
Yeah, which he wrote. And said that Kevin Costner got to play the Nuke character in that movie.
That's awesome.
As a washed-up guy. But is this the same scene with the little kid comes up?
It's the note. Yeah, because
the little kid comes up and he's like, "Get a hit, Crash." He's like, "Shut up."
Yeah.
Which was
Go ahead.
Ron Shelton said that he wrote that as like a result of like the Babe Ruth story, where like the little kid's like, hit me a home run, and he's like, dude, if anybody could hit a home run anytime they freaking wanted to, like in reality, he would have struck out, 3 times, 4 times.
Yeah, but he tells that little kid to shut up, and then as he's walking back to the plate, he kind of chuckles a little bit.
Yeah, he's like laughing.
And Kevin Costner does that like sort of giggle, and that's supposed to be representative to me of like his love for the game. It's those moments where he's like really intense, and he's just like, I'm trying to concentrate, kid. Don't ask for like a hit. Like I'm trying to get a hit. Obviously, I don't want to strike out. And he's like, and then he turns around, he's like, starts to laugh because he's
what he just did. Yeah,
in the moment. Yeah, he's just like,
I don't know. I guess I kind of took that as he was kind of resetting, like that.
Yeah,
like he took that little bit of hilarity, like.
Yep.
As a means to just
a little bit
reset
of joy.
his mind. Yeah,
he did.
Like,
he absolutely did.
Of course, then he struck out. But
he did. Which brings me to my final theme to me of the film is Superstition. Like it's really it's all throughout the film, and they get into it like pretty deep. So he overthinks, and he does strike out. And then immediately he gets a little note from his girl Annie, who evidently has made her choice. She just sleeps with one man in the season, and that is Nuke LaLoosh. She's made her choice, but man, like Crash can't let it go, dude. He really wants to bang her.
In his defense, she's still poking the bear. She sends him a note, says like he's pulling his hips or something, or on a swing, and then
all in the hips.
I mean, what does he say in return? I mean, they don't say it, but I believe you can see part of it.
You can see part.
She reads it out loud. He says, "I want to make love to you."
Yeah, I don't think that's what he wrote on the paper.
Except for
I was hoping that Ron Shelton would confirm that, but he did not. Because I always thought that too. I really thought that he said, "I want to fuck you," and
that's what I thought too. Yeah.
On the note, you see.
So you can see it. Okay.
I'll freeze it on here, but I'm pretty sure it says either "let's fuck" or "I want to fuck you." Something to that line.
I think
we'll freeze it up here. So
Millie just kind of like censors it for her.
Yeah. So she censored it because she's nice, and she's like, "Hey, what's that Chris's guy's number?
Yeah,
my dad owns a dealership."
Yeah, she's a delicate slut.
Yeah, she was. Man.
She was basically not saying no, but again, Annie's principled.
But and it leads them to this date that's not a date because she's a one guy kind of gal.
I don't know why they're together. Like this is such a weird scene.
So when I was watching this scene, aside from all the banter that goes back and forth between them and the innuendos and sexual tension, Costner has such a sweet fucking swing for a celebrity.
Yeah,
really.
And so I was trying to think, man, who all can you guys think of that's been in baseball movies that has a sweet swing? I've got an underdog one that's only in like a little small part. Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Charlie Day has a fucking sweet swing when he's on the Wade Boggs one. He's on the field, and I'll put a couple clips in. But it turns out he played in college.
Didn't Pedro Serrano have a pretty good swing?
I thought his was kind of clunky.
But
he could hit it far.
I don't remember like a pure swing as good as Costner's.
Yeah, I think Costner in my book is the purest of all time. But
Charlie Sheen in Major League had a great pitch. Like he was legit. Pitch. But like when it comes to hitting, I don't think there's anybody better. And he's a switch hitter. Which was another thing Ron Shelton was like excited about. He was like, "Oh, I can no matter where the sun is, I can shoot him on either side of the plate, so I can have a good shot." Either way.
They really
guy's a fucking genius.
But then he was like, "But hold on a second, a switch hitting catcher that hits for power, why would he not be in the majors?"
Yeah,
but yeah, like he was like, "That's brilliant. I can shoot him no matter where the sun is and have a good shot because of it."
They really didn't hit on that in the movie, though, did they? That he's a switch hitter?
No, they don't ever mention it. They don't ever say anything.
So I'll have to go back and look for him on both sides of the plate, like to see, because that's smart, because it's all about lighting, right?
The way everything's lit. Yeah,
God
especially
damn,
I want to
hang out with this guy.
Yeah.
We need to get him on the podcast. I want to hear him just like destroy some of the modern movies. I'll literally just
oh god.
Yes.
Yeah. That dude has a love-hate relationship with Hollywood.
Yeah.
I want to hear it.
Let's do it.
But so, man, they do their little flirting in the batting cage. Again, it was all thrown to the wayside with me once I saw Costner swing. I was like, God damn. And that
was the sexiest thing in the movie.
Dude, and when what's funny is, like, I guess this batting cage they're at, like, you can hit it over nets and stuff, and you can just see the little guy that's, like, picking up the balls. It's just like,
Yeah, he's cranking them, dude.
Like, because he's just like cranking these, like in the middle of conversation, just like hitting these balls 300 fucking feet, 400 feet. But anyway,
the scene, basically, the whole scene is the purpose of it is to establish that Annie does have standards, even though she is a woman of loose morals.
She says that in the framework of the minor league system, season, she is monogamous. So
She is.
Your whore argument doesn't work.
No, I slept with other people, but I always told her about it.
I always told her about it. Monogamy.
The reason that I think is obvious that she wants to be monogamous is not necessarily because of her morals. It's because it's part of her kink with getting into, these men who are in baseball is to manipulate them.
No, I think that she legitimately thinks in her mind that she is doing a service to these
that's what I think too.
Yeah,
I think
she thinks
she's mentoring them.
I think that
vagina.
she's getting her kicks and thrills out of it too. But I think that she thinks, and they kind of get towards this at the end of the movie, like spoiler alert, when she's like, "You don't come back," like like she's basically being like, "We're done," and like it's part of the cycle that she is making the sacrifice so we have better baseball guys.
She's like the lady in Summer Catch that makes cucumber salads.
I mean, you got to think about it. I mean, if she's been there for 20 seasons, she's only slept with 20 people, and that's not even a percent. Like what, 3% of what you have, Chadwick?
And she eventually becomes the lady.
I'm not good at math.
Yeah.
She eventually becomes the lady that passes out programs. Get your programs.
25 cents. God damn, man. So it does cut to her banging old. It's actually, I love this cut too. This is fun filmmaking because they're flirting, and then it cuts to the bedroom, and then she yells out Crash's name, and you're like, oh damn! Like Crash went ahead and nailed her. Nope, it's Nuke in there, and in typical dumb dude fashion, he's like, you just called out Crash. What'd you call it? His name. And he's kind of mad about it. And she's like,
honey, would you rather I've been making love to him using your name or making love to you using his name? Huh?
And he's like, well, I mean, I guess,
Fair enough, I'll take sex.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'll wear your garter when I pitch.
Yeah.
Now, if they made this really realistic, then the next scene would be the cops pulling up on a domestic.
It'd be like, look, he's a pitcher and he can swing a bat.
Yeah, I know. I mean, turns out, Jesus, yeah.
All the bigs need priors, Gibbs. All right, that would have been his roster.
I mean, Sean Connery said it best,
dude.
They'll call it the Marcel Ozuna.
Yeah, they do. Allegedly. Dude, so this one is the most minor league thing. I think probably me and Gibbs get the biggest kick out of this one. It cuts to the scene, and it's a bunch of kids on the field, and they're dropping $1,000 out of a helicopter because it's the most minor league fucking thing in the world.
So originally they wanted to do a hot air balloon, but nobody had a hot air balloon within the vicinity of that area, so they got the helicopter, and
which makes it funnier.
Fine. The idea is fine with the helicopter and stuff like that, but while they were filming it, while they were filming it, when it was about to happen, everybody got really scared and like upset because a few years earlier, while John Landis was filming his portion of the Twilight Zone movie, they were doing a scene with little kids and Vic Morrow in Vietnam with a helicopter, and the helicopter crashed and decapitated the three of them.
Oh, Jesus
Christ.
And
so, and the kids were, they were doing this illegal.
Oh, I thought this was a comedy, sorry.
Sorry, yeah, no, but when they started filming it and all these kids are running around and there's a helicopter, everyone was like, oh, fuck.
It's happening again. It's happening.
This was a bad idea. And whenever they finished the cut, everybody breathed a sigh of relief because they just had that Vic Morrow and the two kids get decapitated just a few years earlier in a scene similar.
That's fucking crazy. It's also a testament to Hollywood always learning from their mistakes.
It's also a really big reason why I'm not a big fan of John Landis.
Well, it just shows you the importance that Hollywood places on kids.
On kids, yeah. So if they drop it out of a fucking hot air balloon, I mean, it spreads out, so it's still like, you kind of, but the helicopter continually blowing the cash and assumingly that the kids aren't going to get but $3 here and there made me laugh harder than anything. Like, they're going out there trying to grab this, but as long as that helicopter's there, that shit's going to be flying everywhere. They can't
minor
grab
league
anything.
Promotions are the best thing in the world.
Yep.
Watching people come out in droves for the smallest little bit.
Chattanooga used to do this one. I think they still do it. They used to have one night a year. They would do a used car they gave away every inning. Giveaway.
Some of them didn't even work.
Some of them didn't start, right? So this is how shitty these cars are. And those
you got the starting lineup pushing the car out.
Dude, you would literally have those games sell out because people are just fucking so desperate for anything for free.
It's always my least favorite night of the year at the Lookouts games because it's a bunch of people that don't give a fuck about the game.
Baseball,
and they're all just sitting around talking. You're like, will you just shut the fuck up? We just got a hit. Will you guys calm the fuck down? But they're all there for their fucking shitty $50 car that doesn't fucking work. That they're gonna have to spend $10,000 just to get it to crank.
I'd be like, a Hyundai, come on.
But anyway, so the kids survive, and you start to get
the game starts.
The game starts, and you start to get Crash start to coach a little bit, right? Because the Gibbs, this is the line I always think about you when I watch this. When he's like,
strikeouts are boring. Besides that, they're fascist. Throw some ground balls. It's more democratic.
Yeah. Which I think apparently he got that line from Bill Lee from the Red Sox, who was like this weird socialist pitcher back in the day, and it was something that Bill Lee said. He thought that strikeouts were fascist and not ground balls were more democratic and shit like that. And he actually asked for permission to use that line. I just found this out recently, but
holy shit!
Yes, whenever me and Chris would watch baseball, I'd always say strikeouts were fascist because of this. So I was like,
and it would make me fucking laugh like every single time
because it doesn't involve the whole team.
I don't fucking know.
It's a stupid pitcher from the Red Sox. I mean,
pitcher just trying to throw out words.
Red Sox, fucking Red Sox.
It's dictatorial in nature because no one gets a say. You strike the person out.
I don't even know I don't even know if it goes that deep. I think sometimes players would find words and then just run with them. So
hey Chris, remember when we were going to go see a Red Sox game and see Norm Macdonald in Boston, and then Norm died? So
yeah. Cool. Thanks for bringing that up.
Ended up we didn't want to see the Red Sox at all.
Yeah. Turns out. Yeah. Sad times. Cool. So
well, I felt like we were having too much fun.
Yeah, thanks, man. Really glad for you to share your misery with us.
This is the first
Well, it's a personal stories that bring in the crowds.
Yeah. It is,
Oh, okay.
This is the first scene where you get basically, like Chris said, Crash teaching Nuke about the way the game is played, and so he is caught, like Crash is calling pitches as the catcher does, and Nuke is just like, no, I want to throw what I want to throw.
I want to bring the heater to announce my presence with authority.
To announce your what?
Announce my presence with authority.
I want to announce my presence with authority.
Dude, I love that line.
This is one of my favorite scenes for Tim Robbins, because my favorite part is, so Crash comes to the mound 2 times. He calls timeout, and he talks to him twice. And every time he walks away, Tim Robbins is talking shit about him, as he's leaving. And it's so real. It had to have been ad-libbed. I refuse to believe it was in the script, because the way that he says, you're just like, you don't know anything about fun. I'm young. I know about fun. You're old. You're an old man. It's really petty. I was in tears. I had to pause it, because he just, they hate each other. But Tim Robbins just absolutely Nuke LaLoosh just absolutely does not want to throw what he's told.
He wants to teach. He's trying to teach him how to throw a change up or a curve, something other than his fastball, because his fastball's there, right? Like, he knows that, and he's got to develop this other pitch. But he's like, fine, throw fastball. And then when Crash walks back,
fastball.
He just tells the batter, fastball.
He tells him what he's going to throw.
Yeah.
And then the guy hits a home run. Hits it off the fucking bull, which, by the way, they made this bull for this movie. And apparently it was in foul territory. like where it actually was. They said, but then they moved it. I think now it's in fair territory. I guess when they moved or whatever, they brought it or got a replica. Anyway, so he wins the free steak or whatever. And the thing on the mound, he was like,
God, the sucker teed off in that like he knew I was going to throw a fastball.
He did know.
How?
I told him.
That's based on a real story from Ron Shelton's playing career. Whenever he was playing, a catcher was like, "Hey, it's a fastball," or he was like, "It's a curveball, and it's a really crappy curveball." And he didn't believe the catcher, so he throws it, and he was like, "It's the worst curveball I've ever seen in my life," and I just froze there because I didn't believe the catcher. And then the catcher looked up to him and said, "Well, that's the last time I give you a pitch."
Dude, the underhanded shit that can happen and like behind, like during those moments is wild, and that's one thing that I learned, I guess, from this film. That's just like, dude, like you could really screw your
because the team
over.
is just like fucking losing left and right. They're terrible. Yeah. Like, Nuke's getting lit up every time he's out. Crash is in a slump a little bit. Everybody else is in a fucking slump.
Did you guys notice how Costner, when he was trying to play like the mentor role, all of his lines seemed like they were kind of delivered like kind of flat and monotone, but when he was having fun, like that, that's when like he would really shine. After the guy hits the home run, he goes up there and he's kind of like laughing and talking shit. He's like, man, he
really hit the shit out of that one, didn't he?
Held it like an egg.
Yeah, and he scrambled the son of a bitch. Look at that, he hit the fucking bull.
What's a steak?
Like that, they're like so funny. Like that, and there's one later on where he's talking shit to a batter, and like when he tells Nuke to throw the ball like way off. And he's like,
it doesn't hit the mascot.
He tells him to hit the mascot, and then he's telling the batter, it's like, I don't know where it's going to go. I swear to God.
I swear to God.
That's so good.
Yeah. You're right though. But I think the monotone sets that up. Like I think that difference makes that even better. But so Crash finally does hit his first home run of the season, which I love. If you're paying attention, they're like, that's Crash's first home run of the season when fucking second-rate Dusty Rhodes is doing the announcing. That's Crash's second home run.
I was
going to
say the same fucking thing.
There's 1,000 of those guys in South Carolina.
Anyway, that guy actually was
Foghorn Leghorn.
That guy worked for the government and was like busting up stills and shit. They saw him. What's his name? Garland Bunting, I think, is the guy's name. But anyway, he was busting up moonshine stills. He was on Letterman or Leno or some late night talk show, and Shelton saw him, and then was like, "Hey, we got to see if we can get this guy on just because of his voice." But yeah, man. So he, you hear like the underhanded thing, like Crash's home run. You're like, "Oh, sweet man, he hit a home run," and they're like, "That makes the score 14-2."
Yeah,
they're just getting slaughtered.
Nobody's doing anything on the team, like nobody. So the next scene is the road trip, or the beginning of the road trip. Right. They're going on the road. Their home games, I guess, are over from. I don't know how long that typically lasts.
They're sweet, because they have that. You actually like. You also see the coach leaning on Crash here for advice too, because he's like, hell of a home run or whatever. And
he does.
Like, and they're just like, nothing. He's like, I don't know. I'm trying to be the cool guy with these kids, and he was just like, what? I don't know what to do. And he's like, scare them.
Scare them.
Everybody into the shower! Anybody in the shower in 10 seconds gonna get fined $100.
Right.
And then he gets them all in the shower, like throwing chairs and shit. You see these kids like just scared or whatever, and then that's like when it like cuts to the fucking road trip.
But like that's one of like the best scenes with like Robert Wuhl as like the backup, like Larry or whatever his name is, and he pitched that fit, and he's like, "Yeah, lollygag," and he does the first part of what gets called back later on, where he's like,
"This is a simple game. You throw the ball, you hit the ball, you catch the ball."
And he's like, "What's our record?" He's like 8-24, and he's like 8-24. How did we ever win 8 games? It's a miracle.
It's a miracle.
It's a miracle. It's a miracle.
Oh no! When he says that one thing, he's like, "What does that make you?" Because he's like, "You're lollygagging here, you're lollygagging there," and he's like, "What does that make you?" And he's like, "Lollygaggers."
Lollygaggers.
So, Gibbs, I'm glad you're here because I think I picked up something last night. You're also a big fan of Psych.
Yeah.
There was an episode where Sean is he's acting like a coach or assistant coach for a minor league baseball team. I think he was trying to act like Robert Wuhl. Yeah, because he's always got shit in his mouth, like sunflower seeds or whatever.
Or
Robert Wuhl is like best known for his work on the show Arliss, and Batman. Batman.
What a dick.
And and he was also in one of Ron Shelton's later movies, Cobb, with Tommy Lee Jones, where he played the reporter.
I need to watch that one again. It's been a long time.
It's not my favorite of his movies, but it's still worth watching. But Ron Shelton said he had the absolute worst audition he's ever seen in his entire life when he was auditioning for that role. He came in and all he did was just yammer, yammer, yammer. He asked him what he thought about Tim McCarver as an announcer, and just would not shut up. And then he left, and that was it. And they were like, the casting lady was with him, and she was like, "That's the worst audition I've ever seen." And he's like, "Yeah, I want to hire him." And I think it was because he knew a lot about baseball.
Right.
I feel like Robert Wuhl is one of those guys that like thought he was a much bigger presence in Hollywood than he actually was.
You think so?
I don't know. I
get what Shad was saying. I feel like his attitude, the way he behaves, like in his scenes, like I don't know.
I think he's just a weird, amped up person. I think he is insanely lovable. He's a great writer. Yeah. He's smart as shit. He knows a lot about history. Like I like listening to him talk. He's very funny.
Yeah, in interviews, I get the same vibe as I get from the guy that played Mr. Belding. Like,
oh yeah,
because we see him sometimes.
That guy's dead.
We used to see him in Chattanooga. He would always like come to like the bars and stuff and hit on like the young girls. Like, oh, I was Mr. Belding.
You know what, man? Don't talk bad about him. He always treated Screech with a lot of respect.
Allegedly. Yeah. So actually, I got to meet him once. We were at I think it was before a Mox game or something, and people were like tailgating out. And he like walked up, and I guess he knew some of the dudes tailgating or whatever. And I was just like, I mean, y'all know me. I was just like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And he's just like, "How you doing?" I was like, "Hey, I'm Chris." And he's just like, "Nice to meet you." And I was like, "So, how much fun did you have on the set of Always Sunny?" And he was just like, "Dude," and he just like started he's like, "Those guys were so much fun to work with," because he worked with them on early seasons. Like, yeah. But the story of that of his episode was like that he allegedly had molested Charlie when he was in elementary school. So I was kind of half-assed, like, should I just go in with this? Because I'm sure everybody's always like, "Dude, Saved by the Bell." I was like, I wonder, like,
what?
I
don't think I even realized.
I met Tim McGraw one time, and I told him I was a really big fan of when he shut the fuck up.
So on to the road trip we go.
Crash is established basically as the.
Sorry.
That was good.
No, I think Chadwick had something interesting to say, and I fucking ruined it.
No, I was just going to say that I was at a bar one time, and Dennis Haskins, is that his name?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He was in there, and he kept trying to pick up some of the girls that was like with our group, and the guy. One of the guys I was with, he was a couple years older than me in high school. He's like slung him across the room. He's like, "Won't you go suck off AC Slater? Leave us alone."
Oh shit! Are you serious?
Yes.
Oh my god. Rest in peace, Mr. Belding.
Dude.
That's what really killed him.
He got a bar fight.
He died of a broken heart on.
So Crash is established as the basically the daddy of the entire team. Yep. Even the coach, like you guys said, sort of bends to his will and asks him for advice because he's like the pro or the old veteran. And
yeah, man.
So they hit the road.
Seen a lot. Yep.
Yeah, so they finally hit the road. Everybody gets on the bus, but beforehand, of course, we've got Annie sees her new man off Nuke with a sloppy kiss, and she tells him to wear like her lingerie, like because of some weird feminist bullshit about like you need to think with your right brain or you thought with your left brain. Like, it makes absolutely no sense. It's just another tactic for her to dominate him and control him.
I still think that her and Crash have the same thought process. It's something for him to think about other than pitching. It's to get his mind off of pitching. He's going to be so self-conscious about wearing a lingerie that he's not going to be thinking about what he's doing.
And to be honest, this happened a lot. Jose Canseco, when he was in a slump, he started wearing a thong.
I'm not in a slump.
He once played an entire game with a butt plug up his ass.
I don't know about that one, but
I just made that up, but it's probably true.
But five long years up his ass.
Up his ass. I do know about the thong though. Jose Canseco. Baseball players do weird fucking shit, man. There were some baseball players that would go an entire season without washing their fucking underwear.
You know, like there was the what is it called? The witch doctor guy, the voodoo guy that's on the team and everything like that, which is based on a real guy, which apparently a team did not want to cut him because they were like, we don't have another witch doctor on the team. We need to have a witch doctor on the team.
Because
even
baseball,
though he was hitting nothing.
Yeah, baseball is one of the most superstitious fucking sports, period to end.
What was he said?
Ting tang, walla bing bang.
I believe it was quoted.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So
potion number 9.
I do like that on the bus. Is this where like Crash starts to?
Yeah.
Is this when Nuke's playing guitar?
Nuke's playing guitar.
This is my favorite part.
We forgot about the garter though. That's hot. I'm serious. That's hot.
I already said she.
Yeah, we already said it.
The rose goes in the front.
He just needed to make sure that everybody knows it's hot. Oh, the rose goes to the front was a line that was made up by Kevin Costner.
Nice.
Like they wasn't in it originally, and the scene ended up going on longer. But Kevin Costner was while they were rehearsing, he came up with that, and they were like, "Oh, we got to put that in the movie."
Yeah.
Because it just brought a little bit of levity to the situation.
That doesn't happen.
That's a little bit later.
Yeah, that doesn't happen yet because he doesn't because right now like Nuke is like, I don't want to put this on. And so that's later on you get a montage of him like considering it. Like he's got it. Like he's
embarrassed.
Because he doesn't want to be he doesn't want to put on women's lingerie, but he also believes in Annie's advice.
You guys also watching the director's cut.
And wants to get out whatever it takes to get out of his slump and start pitching better. So he's basically willing to listen to anything she says. But on the bus, he's wearing Nuke LaLoosh is an Iron Maiden t-shirt, and he can't play a song. He can't play the guitar, acoustic
playing
guitar.
That
the guitar was out of tune.
He was playing Try a Little Tenderness, and he was singing all the wrong words.
Because of all the stress, when they get woolly.
Dude,
this is off Costner or Crash. And Crash is like, women don't get woolly.
Yeah. Dude, this too is like Costner in this scene where he's just like, you never even been what would you know? You never
were you
been
in the show?
Yeah, were you in the show? And then when he starts reminiscing about the show.
Yeah, I've been in the majors.
Yeah? You've been in the show, man?
Yeah, I was in the show.
I'm instantly not aware I'm watching a movie anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just it's just so good.
Yeah.
That speech that he talks about.
We talk about that. You don't even handle your own luggage in the show.
Yeah.
You know, and he's
man.
it was in the show for 21, 22 days, which for all of you guys that don't know baseball, that's called a cup of coffee in the bigs.
Yeah, it's a cup of coffee in the bigs. And it could have also been the, what is it? There's 20-something games left when they do the 40-man roster call-ups, so it could probably was something like that. If you think about that, because it's usually 140.
That's what I didn't know.
Anyway,
maybe an injury or something like that. He came in to be a backup.
Nerd shit for me and Gibbs is what all this is.
Well, no, because it was confusing to me to watch this, and I'm because for those of you who want to go back and watch this film, you should do it. It's a great film, despite the baseball. If you're not even a fan of baseball, despite those aspects, but it was confusing because Costner at this point in time starts to reminisce about his time in the major leagues. He did get called up. You said 28 days.
21 days.
I think it was 21 days, yeah.
So go ahead and go into a little more detail. Why would you get called up for that small amount of time?
There's several reasons, but one is this. At one point in time, I think what is the baseball roster usually 28 Gibbs?
Yeah, and then they have a 25-man roster, and then they expand
to 40-man roster. It's usually 20 games left before the end of the season. So just to get nerded out here, baseball is 162 games in the majors. The minors are 140, which they talk about in this movie. So there's 20 games, and the reason is so you can call these guys up for the minors to give you a deeper pitching depth, get you some guys. Maybe you got some guys that are hurt or banged up, you can swap. So that's probably the more likely scenario that Crash got called up for the 40-man roster, but also you have injuries. So anybody that has a minor league team in there, so we had Clayton Kershaw pitch in Chattanooga when he was rehabbing his arm, right?
Yeah, we all saw it.
Yeah, because this was we were a Dodgers affiliate at that time. So like these guys go down, they'll rehab their injuries and come back up. While they're down, someone's got to fill that slot. So somebody from the minors will go up. So there's several things that could happen with him being a catcher. Again, to me, I think with the 21 days, it was more than likely the 40-man roster call-ups. And
a lot of times these guys don't even get to see the field. They are just there just in case, And so like there's a chance he doesn't get too much into it, but there's a chance that his entire time in the bigs he didn't even go to the plate.
And he doesn't. And in his reminiscing of back to the film, in his reminiscing, he doesn't necessarily ever say that he plays. He does talk about what it's like,
how you're treated,
and his nostalgia about it.
You hit white balls for batting practice.
I know, I love that line.
It's just crazy because you could tell it means so much to him. And this is one of the scenes where Kevin Costner just sort of like trumps everybody in the film. Tim Robbins, obviously a legendary actor, but he was still young in this film. Kevin Costner is leagues above everyone, in my opinion. And this is one of those moments where you're just like, Chris is right. You're drawn in as he's talking about, and all the players are surrounded.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, they're all like hanging on every word.
Every single word, and he's telling them what it's like, and they're just like, he's like, all the women that are following you around are just like, the
women all have long legs and brains.
He's like Wendy reading stories to the Lost Boys.
Yeah, he is, man.
All just like,
everyone is there, and he is immediately turns back to Nuke LaLoosh. He's just like, you could be there, you could go, but you're just a waste of space. And he's angry at him because you could start to see it. Like, Crash is jealous.
Yeah.
Well, you also like you see that waste of potential too, and it makes you angry.
Yes.
I deal with this at work sometimes, where I see guys like that work for me, and I'm like, you could be so much more, but you refuse to do anything about it, and it's frustrating to see somebody with that much talent waste their talent.
I don't know, dude. I see it in the mirror every day.
Same.
I was trying to be nice. I was talking about you.
Hey,
we get it.
Hey, I don't work for you.
Not anymore. You don't.
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
I was just kidding, dude.
Yeah. They break this scene up with the nice little montage again of everybody sucking ass.
Yeah, just playing Try a Little Tenderness,
right?
Like a really slow, soulful version of it in the background. Sounds
which is a
great.
nice little touch, like if you're paying attention. But yeah, they are in a slump, and that's those foreshadowing.
LaLoosh on the hill.
They are in a slump. The team, it's just a montage of them losing again, even on the road. Like they still suck. And there's a scene finally where there's a bus, like they're at a hotel and pulling in, and there's a bus full of ice skater like chicks that are, dude. And everyone immediately is like, dude, we need some time off, man. Like to reset our brains. Like every man has been there for sure, where you just want to bang an ice skater chick like on the road. And
man.
So
in your Motel 6?
Yeah, but of course.
there used to be a payoff scene. There was originally a payoff scene with the ice skaters too.
Really?
Where like there was like a big party going on with the players.
Nice.
And then the coach comes in and that's when he actually gives the speech about this is an easy game.
Yeah.
You know,
okay.
But they changed that.
That's a shame.
But it cuts to Crash. They said we need a rain delay, and he's just like, I can get you a rain delay, or and they're like, there hadn't been a cloud in the sky for weeks or whatever, and then he takes him to the baseball field.
Oh my goodness!
And this is this is your classic team coming together moment. But he turns the sprinklers on, and Gibbs, this was based on a true story, right?
Yeah, it happened whenever like back in his minor league days. Although it was more of a failed attempt, they didn't get the day off, and they ended up making like the batter's box muddy, and everybody was miserable having to play in it. And
and it was funny too because it was the story Gibbs was talking about where they turn the sprinklers on, they try to do the same thing. I guess that was when Shelton was playing.
Yeah, and they had trouble like pulling the tarp off the field.
Right, but anyway, they tried this, and it was the last game of the season too in the minors. Like, so it doesn't fucking matter. No, it doesn't matter. Everyone's been called up. It's been called up. Doesn't matter. And the owner, I guess, was so mad that he was going to make them play this fucking game. He brought in a helicopter to dry the field, and they still had to play in a muddy ass field.
And it killed 3 kids.
And it killed 3 kids.
Decapitated 3 children.
Allegedly, that's ignorant.
So back to the scene from the movie.
Yeah,
they start running around the bases while the sprinklers are going.
Yeah.
So and it's lit. You know, it's low light. Do we think that was Costner doing a first base slide, or do you think that was a stunt guy?
I think it was Costner.
I don't think they had stunt guys.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Costner, and you can see him. They filmed it 2 different ways when they're going home. They filmed Costner rounding third, and I don't know if you noticed because I was like, "Is he hurt the way that he's running?" But he's not limping. He's small stepping because the grass is wet. So he doesn't want to fucking wipe out and eat shit. Because you see his stride correct after the momentum is going forward, and then it corrects and he slides home. I don't know why I spent so much time dissecting that, but I did. But the other guys,
I knew you would. That's why I asked.
But like
Chris is our stunt coordinator.
Yeah, but so they actually they filmed the other guys just straight from third. It just cuts to them running straight from third. So I assume they were at a dead stop and then started running.
I'm sorry, I meant Chris is our stunt analyst.
Yeah. But I once played an entire church softball game with a butt plug in. Went 3 for 4.
Well, you got to leave some room for Jesus.
God.
So at his wit's end and at Annie's instruction, we get another montage of them sort of like losing again, but Nuke is finally starting to come around. He's like, dude, I gotta do something. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna put on these panties, dude. And that's where we get the rose goes in the front moment where like Costner sees him, he's just like,
what? That's hot. No, I mean it. That's very hot.
Whoa, you'd make a sexy chick.
He's like, someone trying to look at my panties. God damn it.
LaLoosh is like, I'm getting a mean hard on in here.
Mean hard on. Yeah, that's basically what happens, man. So
it is. Yeah, and he keeps talking about like how he's worried about being gay at the very beginning, like by doing this, but like he starts to feel himself because somehow, again, this is back to the superstition. Absolutely nothing, like science based here whatsoever. He starts to immediately pitch better.
All it is he's thinking about that instead of thinking about pitching, and that's all he's got to do.
It's a
distraction. Simple game.
Dude. And so he starts pitching way better with Annie's lingerie on, dude. It works, dude. And he pitches a near shutout to the opposing team, except for his old habits crop up again. And he wants to shake away Crash's call. So what does Crash do?
This is a fucking great line, too. Crash is like, okay. And he's like,
this son of a bitch has thrown a 2-hit shutout. He's shaking me off. You believe that shit? Charlie? Here comes the deuce. And when you speak of me, speak well.
That is one of the best delivered lines.
Yeah, is this the one or is it the first one where the guy pimps it after he hits the home run?
No, I think it was the first one.
The first one that happened.
And he's like, I give you a gift like that, and you're gonna stand up my picture.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, he's like, would you speak of me? Speak well. I always fucking love that line.
Yeah. It's really funny. So like he tells
anything that gets out here that fast, you just have a stewardess on it.
Yeah, no.
Crash tells the
Nuke
you
knows
told him,
that
didn't you?
He told him, didn't you? And he's like, yep. And he's like, okay.
And that's when like the rest of the game, every time like Crash calls, he goes.
Yeah, and I like that scene because it just goes to show you, like, he immediately started pitching better because of the lingerie, whatever, the mental space that the pitcher was in was much better, was a much better place. But crashes me like, don't get a big head. Like, I could still destroy you. I run the show. The catcher owns you. Like, I could ruin you. It doesn't matter.
I mean, it's teaching a young man a lesson, because we all know when we were young men, we fucking knew everything. So you have to find a backhanded way to teach them a lesson. They've got to figure it out on their own, but really you're figuring it out for them.
You are, and he's teaching him a lesson yet again. He wasn't even into his hot streak yet, and it was almost a shutout. Like, he pitches,
dude, and they start going on this winning streak, and this again dives into the superstition of baseball. The hey man, if you're not having sex and we're winning, you should probably continue not to have sex.
Women weaken legs, right?
Well, which it was also, he wanted to sleep with Annie. That's her name, right?
Yeah.
Annie.
Yeah, Annie. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was.
He's playing both sides.
Yeah, he was keeping her. He was keeping her clean.
He's keeping her honest.
He's keeping her honest, man. But yeah, this is funny too, because like little Annie's a little upset now. So she's like, okay, like, well, wait a minute, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
And she's trying to. Is this the scene where you have where she's having him try to take her stockings off or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're playing with my mind.
I'm trying to play with your body.
And she
she's
just
desperate.
keeps scooting her crotch like closer and closer to his face or whatever. And you can feel the heat off that thing. He's like, did someone turn the heat on?
God damn, summertime in the Carolinas, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
As Gibbs takes a non-spicy pickle shot straight to the head.
He ain't lying.
Yeah.
Dude, and my favorite part of this scene is where Tim Robbins like thrashes back. He's like, "You're trying to seduce me."
Yeah.
Like, he just figured it.
Out. He's so damn stupid.
He's so fucking retarded.
Oh God!
You killed Marco.
I want to hang out with this
delivery.
guy. I want to hang out with him so fucking bad.
Same fucking delivery, man.
Oh, dude, it was so good.
But then she gets on the crash after that too, right? Like,
yeah, because
you're telling him not to sleep with me. It's like, I'm just telling him not to change anything.
Yeah,
Don't fuck with winning streak.
He's doing what you told him to do.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. And they go back on the bus too, and this is where Nuke's like, "Hey, I'm like, teach me something else, man. Teach me something else." And this is fucking 101 cliche interviews for all of sports. Period. And if anybody watched while we're filming this, I believe the finals are finally set for March Madness. You watch any player's interview after anything, it is off this framed cliche.
We got to play him one day at a time.
Got to play. It's pretty boring.
Of course it's boring. That's the point. Write it down.
Crash is the mentor to, once again, to Nuke, and does teach him a little bit about like how to handle the media and interviews. And damn, if only Rachel Ziegler from the live action Snow White had hollered at Kevin Costner.
So like he's teaching him how to do cliche.
Yeah.
Which is like the way that you get out of not getting into trouble off of the field.
He's teaching him to be Johnny Moxon.
Yeah,
I just like to thank God.
Yeah,
yep.
Yeah.
That's
you say,
what it is.
First and foremost, I'd like to thank God and all my teammates. My coach and all that stuff. We take this
was a team effort.
Team effort. Yeah. We take this one day at a time. Every time we go out there, we do 110%, even though that's not even a real fucking thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And like it's cliches. It's to keep you out of the fucking news.
Johnny Mox is just one man.
Yeah, that's right.
And at the end of the movie, it pays off with his amazing cliche, fucking speech.
Yeah, you can see that he listened.
But that is the most that's the important thing. And he's like talking to him. He's like, no, you need to write this down. Write this down. And I just think that's one of the best mentoring moments in it, because you can see the respect equally between the two of them at that point. You can see that they're bonding really well. There's very little animosity between the two of them at this point, and
except for over Annie. And that's where the scene we are, because like Annie said, well, he asks because Kevin Costner asks how Annie's doing. Like, which is obviously none of his business because he still has a thing for her. And again, that's what starts the argument, because he tells Nuke, he's like, dude, you don't want to mess with the streak. And this again is where the superstition comes in, one of the main themes of the movie, because he's right. And later on, when Annie does confront Crash about it, he was like, I told him, you never, like, you're hitting well, or excuse me, you're pitching well, you're doing awesome. Don't ever mess with a winning streak like that. And he tells Annie, you agree with me.
This is the damnedest season I've ever seen. I mean, the Durham Bulls can't lose, and I can't get laid.
Crash says, nah, man, dude, I'm out. Like, I'm not going to be your fucking shiny silver medal, and I'm fucking out of here. And then you have, it's beautiful. And then you have Nuke starts pitching bad, which this is also another fun one. So you're like, what the fuck's going on with him? Why is he like all over the place?
Yeah, they're at another game.
Yeah, and then you find out his dad's in the stands. Yeah. And which is another thing for, like, I mean, anybody that played sports, when your parents show up, sometimes there's just a little fucking extra pressure on you. Like, just is.
And his dad, like, so there was a cut scene earlier in the movie that was supposed to be in it where he calls his dad or calls his family on the phone, and it's really bad, and he's trying to convince them not to come out because he doesn't want him to come out while he's not doing well, you know. And so like he apparently has a very like adversarial relationship with his dad, and so like I don't know, I think it was probably a good thing to cut that.
I think it was a good thing to cut because it really, that layer's not really needed.
But when his dad is in that scene, like at Annie's house, there doesn't really seem to be any kind of beef between them.
But whenever he's playing, there is like, he just doesn't play well when his dad's around. He doesn't do well.
It's not like Jamie Tartt's dad.
No.
Jamie Tart.
Well, he does.
But I love it whenever he's in the house. They're at the house, and he's like, "Let us pray," and she's like,
"Oh, let's not."
But so this is what you referenced earlier, Gibbs, the Mound meeting.
Yeah,
because
it is a scene that the studio did not want, and the entire time throughout the shooting, they wanted to stop. They were like a half day behind shooting, and they're like, "Let's just not do that one because it doesn't make any sense." And Ron Shelton's like, "This is the reason I wrote this screenplay,
dude."
But it's the best. It's the most iconic. It's
I mean, you guys
remember they're dealing with a lot of heavy stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, you remember collecting baseball cards. There was always one Mound visit card that used to exist for all the baseball cards when we were younger. If you collected baseball cards, it was called Mound Visit, and they had one for every team where it would be like the entire infield around a picture, and it was just a picture, and it was just this wide shot.
And as a kid growing up, whenever you saw a Mound Visit, you always just assumed that they were having a serious, deep discussion about
what
this
are they talking about,
and you never hear what's going on. They didn't have like people mic'd up and shit like that, so you were always like, oh, what are they saying? I wonder what they're saying and shit like that.
Could have been anything.
And this was like the first time you saw that Mound Visit, and they're just talking about everything. Like, nobody knows what to get Jimmy for like getting married to Millie, which Jimmy, we haven't mentioned him. He's the Christian dude who lied in his audition and said he knew how to play baseball, and he didn't. And but
typical Christian.
They're talking about everything other than what's going on in the baseball field.
Right.
And Robert Wuhl comes out, and they like Shadwick, what's the line?
Nuke's scared because his eyelids are jammed and his old man's here. We need a live rooster? We need a live rooster to take the curse off Jose's glove, and nobody seems to know what to get Millie or Jimmy for their wedding present. Is that about right? That's right. We're dealing with a lot of shit.
Yeah. He's like, this is going on, and then like Robert Wuhl's just like, well, candlesticks.
Oh yeah,
pretty good.
He starts solving the problems.
Or find out where they're registered, and maybe get them like a dinner place. Or
something
like that.
The team is all dealing with like they're all different. They're different problems. Like Nuke, his dad is filming with his 1980s gigantic camera.
The witch doctor.
Jose
Witch doctor had a curse on his glove from his girlfriend.
Yeah, his girlfriend cursed his glove.
He needs the blood of a rooster.
to cure the curse. And of course, one of
not funny.
One of their Christian teammates is getting married to, of course, Chris's favorite. The other whore, Millie, is settling down. They spent.
She finally.
They don't actually say this, but her name is Millie Vanilli.
Odd note,
and nothing she says is her own words, really.
The Christian guy. The Christian guy and Millie spent 5 hours together, and they just knew. They just knew.
Dude, he proposed to her so he could bang her,
and he's a virgin.
I'm a virgin.
It all makes sense now.
Dude,
you're a virgin.
But this is great. This is just a great go to the mound. It's
awesome.
Again, it's always been that you wonder about this. It's like when you get older and you see the mound visit. Like now they've got fucking mics and all kinds of shit up there. When we were kids and stuff, be like, what are they saying? They'd put their gloves over their mouths so you can't read lips. To me, it was always like this mystery. So I always got a kick out of this scene where I was like, I hope this is really what it's like.
This is the scene that made me want to watch it. I saw this scene as the movie's about to come on TBS, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. I want to see this movie. Like, they showed that in the preview, and I was like, I want to watch this movie now.
And it breaks up the game because a lot of times, again, back to one of the themes that I said, it's about mentality, and everyone's in their own heads. And this scene is sort of the team's attempt to say, okay, listen, like, let's talk about whatever and take a pause from the game momentarily.
And what's great is it fixes everything. They go on to win the game, and oh wait, no, they completely fall apart, which I love too. Like, as an older person now, I'm like, this is great. Like, it doesn't fix anything. Doesn't work. Jose's got like 3 fucking errors like off his glove. His glove's fucked.
Cursed, dude.
Nuke gives up like 1,000 fucking runs. Like
chicken blood.
This is what makes it such a wonderful movie, because it's so real. It's real. Like, there's no like big game where everybody wins. There's nothing like where anything is resolved like on the field. Nobody's gonna be like, oh, now we're gonna propose because I just hit the big dinger at the end of the game.
Yeah.
So it's real. You think that everything's resolved, but it's not.
Yeah, and this is one of the things that you need to see the uncensored version to understand. And when Crash crashes out and absolutely, has his meltdown like on the field.
It's a cocksucking call.
He calls the ump a cocksucker.
Well, he said it was a cocksucking call in his defense at first.
Then
the umpire persisted.
You call me a cocksucker? No, I called me a cocksucking call. You can't throw me for that. Well, you missed the tag. You missed the tag, buddy. You just spit on me.
And got in his face. Did you spit on me? No. And then.
Well, you want me to call you a cocksucker? Go ahead, try. You want me to call me a cocksucker? Call me a cocksucker, and you're out. Pretty please call me a cocksucker, and you're out of here.
And then it just kind of escalates.
Want me to call you a cocksucker?
Want me to call you a cocksucker?
Please beg. Please beg.
Beg me.
He's like, call me a cocksucker. And he's like,
cocksucker. You're a cocksucker. Shit.
You're a cocksucker. I love this reaction because it's so fucking wrestling. He's like, you're a cocksucker. And he's like, you're out of there. And he's like, what?
Like, you knew he was about to get thrown out. So Crash gets thrown out of the game. When the announcer's like, looks like Crash called the umpire a no word. And and Susan Sarandon and Millie, they're getting ready for the wedding, which I don't know. They're sewing a wedding dress.
They're listening to it on the radio.
Yeah. And then on the radio, the announcer's like, he called him a no word, and Millie's like,
Crash must have called the guy a cocksucker.
That's it. It's fucking perfect.
It was so funny, and that's a line I'd never heard in my entire life till I rewatched this again, because you don't say.
It's my second favorite movie scene that features the word cocksucker.
Give me the keys, you fucking cocksucker.
That's my first. Yes, it is. Usual Suspects is my first.
This is it, man. Crash, he's done. He obviously gets ejected.
Yes, and the team falls apart completely. Right. They lose the game, and so that we all know the stipulation. It was said before. Annie gets to finally bang Nuke again. So we cut to the scene where she's waiting on him, but unfortunately, obviously she has feelings for Crash now because it's always been going that way. But she's a principled whore. She literally chooses one guy, stays with him the whole season. and she just doesn't want to break that. But she also doesn't want to see Nuke, and he knocks on the door, and she knows he's ready. Dude, he's just like a D's. Like he's ready to he's ready to go,
dude,
man.
He better not bump that band on his underwear. He's just gonna fucking go off.
Shotgun
and he brought his dad for backup, I guess.
Yeah, that's weird. When she's like, you're thinking like when he shows up, you're like, okay, here's what's going on. And he's like, here's my dad, and it's like, I live with my dad.
It's an all LaLoosh three-way.
It is.
And in my mind, I was like, well, it's fine because, like, maybe he wasn't interested in sex at this moment. He was just introducing her to her dad because he had. But then he tries to bang her, like, with his dad in the living room.
We got talk. Hello? Yes, he most certainly is here. Yeah, it's good for you.
And so as they're sitting there, the phone rings, and the phone call is for Nuke, and he picks up, and he gets the fucking call to the show. And so he's going to the major leagues. And so, like, he's super stoked. He tells his dad, and this is the line I was talking about earlier, where this is why I think that she thinks she's doing a service for baseball when he's like, no, like, I'll come back or whatever. And she's like, this was what it was. You're going to be in the majors. Like, I'm not, this is not continuing. And he's like, damn. And then
I also think it's like her opportunity to get rid of him because she obviously has feelings for Crash. Like, I mean, I think everything. I don't think all of her views and the way she behaves in this film is altruistic. I think it's very, very selfish and involved. Like, I don't absolve her of like any like nefariousness just because
everybody involved is selfish and
pretty nefarious.
They are. They are.
It's all. It's not. It's a transaction. It's not necessarily like a manipulation. I don't think.
I do. I actually think it is.
Well, I think she manipulated.
I think that's part of. Like, I think that's part of her kink because I think she thinks that she's smarter.
He went up to her. She did not go up to him.
That's true. But I mean, I'm just. She knew what she was doing.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
everybody in the fucking system knows what she's doing. That's the thing, though. Yeah. Everybody knew what's going on.
They did, yeah, they did. But the thing is like part of her kink isn't just simply like finding the guy. It's basically enveloping them in her like psychological game.
No, I really do legitimately believe that she thought she was doing something altruistic. I think that's what it was. But then she realized this isn't really working. Like because she's not getting anything out of a freaking 20-year-old man. No, like 20-year-olds. No offense to the 20-year-olds out there, but you guys cannot please women. It does not fucking
Eddie Murphy had a whole stand-up about it.
Y'all don't know how to fuck.
Yeah, you do not know how to fuck.
And they say that as much like in this film.
And so, like, I think that's at the end of the film, she realizes she needs a man. She doesn't need a fucking boy.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Millie was fucking him at the first. She said something like, He
fucks like he pitches all over the place.
All over the place. Exactly. Because like Susan Sarandon's character Annie asks her, and like she still ends up like going with him like after the fact, and like Annie is just one who just wants to like have absolute like control over him, and Crash like tells him a few different times, he's like, bro, she's just trying to manipulate you, she's trying to control you.
Yeah, but he's saying that because he wants to fuck her.
I mean, yeah, he does, I think, to a certain degree, but I think he also is telling her the truth. Like, telling him the truth.
I believe that there are nothing but good people in this movie.
So we do move.
Well, honest people, at least.
Yeah, we have a full circle moment here, too. So Nuke catches up with Crash, and Crash is fucking hammered drunk. Yeah. And I don't know what scotch it is that he's drinking. I tried to slow it down and get the label off of it, but I couldn't.
Brown.
Let's just assume it's like Oban scotch.
Because I know later on he's drinking Jim Beam.
He's pushing it down with Brown.
He was pushing it down with Brown, and he's there with his buddy that used to be in the minor leagues too, right?
Yeah. So originally this scene took place in a brothel. So he comes in, and this guy that he used to be a minor leaguer. He owns this brothel and everything like that. When they were doing the screenings, and at the end of whenever they were getting ready to release the film, it was one of the only scenes that Ron Shelton didn't feel like fit into the movie. He's like, there's no reason why Crash would be in a brothel. Like there's a reason why to have a brothel, but there's no reason that Crash would be in a brothel.
Right.
And so like he left it in the cut whenever they're doing the screenings, and he made it long and terrible on purpose, so that at the end of it they'd be like, "Hey, here's some more money, reshoot it." So he reshot it in
fucking smart. God damn, that dude's smart.
He reshot it in L.A. using this guy who he saw walking in a crosswalk. He was like, "Oh, I know that guy. Let's put him in a movie." And he was the minor leaguer, but yeah, he was like, it just doesn't make sense. There was another scene where they had a funeral for the Crown Prince of Baseball that they cut out of it because he was like, "This sucks. It doesn't make any sense." Why?
So good.
But he dies? Like, why were you extra sad?
Which is sad because it's a real fucking guy and he didn't die until like fucking 15 years later.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. But
it was really weird. So like, he goes in there and there's a guy that owns a tavern. It's a pool hall, and he's like, this guy had a career, a great career, and he's drunk. Crash is fucking drunk.
He's like, I was drunk.
He's pissed
Beautiful.
off. He's jealous and shit like that. And he says the wrong thing.
My motherfucking house.
Yeah, he says the wrong thing, and Nuke punches him.
Forget it. Just fucking forget it. Hey, me. Damn.
And of course, he's like,
Did you hit me with your right hand? Did you hit me with your left? My left. Good. It's good. Well, you get in a fight with a drunk, you don't hit him with your pitching hand.
so he's like still trying to be a mentor.
Well, you have the full circle moment where he throws the ball or glass and he misses wide right. Where Crash throws it at Nuke and he shatters the glass. But I thought it was a great job by Costner in this when he's talking about what separates you from hitting 250 to hitting 350 is basically one extra hit a week, which is, like he said, it could be a bloop, it could be a flare, it could be a grounder with eyes.
Yeah, it could be anything, and that's the difference between hitting like 200 and 300.
It's so crazy. It's just a little luck here and there, right? Like that ball got down, that ball didn't get down. So it's like you can tell how much he cares about baseball and how much he's like, you almost see himself being like, if I had one more bloop,
that's what it
was.
I
had one more, to me, I could have been hitting 350.
To me, that was his justification for Nuke's talent. That was him being like, listen, because he tells him before they start to fist fight. That sounds so delicious. So he tells him before the fist fight, he's like, look, he was like, if just for this one manipulated statistic, I would be great and, or as equally as good as you are. You have all this talent, but instead that didn't happen. And your arm is worth $1 million and my arm isn't worth 2 cents a pound or whatever. And Nuke's like, dude, that's so awful to quantify it like that. But that's Crash's mentality. And if you noticed, he progressively drinks more and more and more through every scene. When Annie confronts him, he's pouring bottles of
that's Jim Beam in that scene.
Yes, and he knows he's nearing the end. It's really difficult for him to accept that. And this is the moment where it all sort of culminates.
He's got conflicting feelings because he's happy because he's made it and he's done his job of making him make it, but he's also pissed off because he didn't get a legitimate chance, legitimate shot at the show. So he's jealous, he's pissed off, he's angry, and
he was blessed. He says I was blessed with intelligence and you were blessed with physicality, and because of that you have everything and I don't have anything. And Annie echoes that sentiment later on when obviously Nuke's a success. She says, the world is made for people who are not self-aware. We're cursed with self-awareness, and that freaking hit me hard,
dude. 100%. But so
that's
after
how I
this,
feel every fucking day of my life.
after this day, you have the I'm sorry I was drunk scene that happens, because Nuke's packing up, Crash meets him, my bad, they make amends here, right? Gives him some final advice.
Look, Nuke, these big league hitters are gonna light you up like a pinball machine for a while, right? Don't worry about it. You be cocky and arrogant even when you're getting beat.
He gives him some final advice, man. He tells him, hey, listen, they're gonna beat you to death. Don't fall into depression. You have to accept the adjustment period. They're
gonna light
playing
you up
at a different level.
Yep.
Yeah. Go ahead.
They're like, yeah, man, they're gonna light you up in the bigs. It's okay. Don't think about it. Just keep doing what you're doing. And so like you have this like fucking button on this where you're like, all right, cool.
Oh yeah, and he tells him to keep being arrogant.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, keep your chip on your shoulder no matter what happens. Because like if someone
ignorant.
Yeah, and he's fucking with him. Yeah,
it's one of the themes I was saying about the film is that it's mentality game. The last advice he gives Nuke is like, listen, like, don't be depressed. Like, don't let people get into your head. Don't let failure stop you. Stay arrogant, because if you stay arrogant, like, when people knock you down a peg, you end up at confidence, right? Like, you still know you're good. You still know you're worth something. You can't let someone mentally tear you down, man. And a lot of the film is about that, the struggles that all of these baseball players deal with, the mentality, and that's where the superstition plays in, which in my opinion is one of the other themes, is because that plays into your mentality. Like, you can't let someone tear you down. And if you believe that wearing women's lingerie like boosts your ability, then it will. Like, that's how strong your mental game is. Like, that's what I pulled away from this.
That's what I'm gonna do. Shit.
That's what I'm gonna do. Shit. And what's great is things get better for Crash. He's gonna get his next shot at the major leagues, except for he's just fucking cut.
When you want to see me?
Crash, shut the door.
Because they no longer need him.
Yeah.
They call up
he moves on.
Yep.
And he actually like hits the minor league record for most home runs, which is a dubious honor. But yeah,
which he wants no recognition for.
Yep. He doesn't want anybody. He doesn't want anything. And Annie's talking about it because
she doesn't mention it either.
Yeah. Because like I guess like after he gets the fucking gets released, then him and Annie hook up finally. Because he's hammered, and it's Leaf's favorite erotic sex scene that he's ever seen in his life.
So
the bathtub scene?
I hate it, dude.
It's weird.
The whole thing is a montage of sex. So after Crash gets cut, he wanders around drunkenly for a while, and then back at Annie's. She's single, so the deal is off. The principal whore now is free to be whoever she wants to be because Nuke's off to the bigs. She broke up with him, and so they have this like erotic like scene. And it turns into a montage of sex. It's like like the worst like Skinamax softcore porn shit I've ever seen.
Yeah,
I
think that was an '80s thing. I think every '80s fucking shit had to have that.
Yeah. I still liked it because it was funny, but like even in the '80s, I can't imagine this. Like this is the point where people are like, "Man, I want to go watch a baseball movie," and you're sitting here like with Susan Sarandon getting railed in a tub, and you're just like, "All right, let's."
Well,
kiss,
I actually like the way that they did the shot for the tub
for the
thing.
painting the toenails.
Yeah, well, no, that was I think that was Ron Shelton said that was Kevin Costner's idea. That wasn't originally in the script.
I thought
Kevin Costner was like
sex. You guys are getting them confused.
No, I thought that was pretty funny.
The painting the toenails shit.
Yeah.
But no, like the scene in the bathtub where they were shooting it kind of through the door and everything like that.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was really well shot. Like I thought that was a really nice scene.
Where it's like showing the candles next to the
when they get
shit like that.
splashed over.
I don't know. There was a little bit of truth and honesty in that. I thought that it was really well done.
I laughed at the gently falling off the bed and the blanket like perfectly covering their parts. Like, well, I'm sorry.
In the original cut, they got impaled on a spike as they fell off the bed, and they just died bleeding. And then like Robert Wuhl takes over as the narrator, and he's like, "So they fucking died."
What a dick!
What a dick!
King of the Wicker people.
So she gets left a nice little Dear John letter in the morning because Crash is out.
Bang.
Yeah, they bang. God, can you imagine the hangover he has?
He's like, look, it was fun, but you're getting close to 40. You're reaching your expiration date.
Yeah. By the way,
he's like, why are you so goddamn tired all the fucking time? Like, you always look like you're.
You always look like you just woke up. What's wrong? Like, Polly, can you tell us what's wrong with her?
You look like you've
busted.
You look like you've been driving a cab at night.
Yeah, working nights.
Tim Curry keeping you up, bitch.
That's another thing. Susan Sarandon is like 38, I believe, because I looked it up when she filmed this film. So, like, she's
which is not old.
Good for her.
It's not old. However,
I'm still like, yeah.
Yeah. However, it's old for still whoring around with the boys. I'm sorry, like that's just like something that's you're getting a little long in the tooth.
No, man,
she's a substitute teacher. What do you want? She's giving back to everyone.
All right.
Like she's coming up on her expiration date. Like
yes,
like the price on that has been marked down.
Yes, coincidentally, just like Crash.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
he leaves. The reason he leaves his Dear John letter to her is because he can't let it go. Like,
he's more in love with baseball than he is with anybody.
Right.
He there's no way for him to be able to end.
Well, you can get 38-year-old pussy anywhere.
No.
Yes, you can.
At that brothel they cut out. It's on the cutting room floor, but we can find it.
We'll pull it up. And so he goes back on the road. He finds another team that will accept him as
and
a
that's
catcher.
like Gibb said, man.
Put it in the comments. Do you want us to find that
the brothel footage? Yes.
I'm on it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man. Like Gibb said, he goes to another team. He breaks that minor league record. No one writes about it because he doesn't say anything about it.
Annie
knows it happens.
She
knows it happened.
Person that knows.
That's it. Yeah.
And that's it.
That's all that counts.
Mm-hmm.
And so she is returning from one of the minor league games that she loves to attend in her hometown back in Durham. And on the porch in the rain is, of course, Crash. He's sitting on the porch. You see him. And she goes up to him and they sort of reunite. And he tells her, hey, I'm done with baseball. Like I hit my last dinger, he says, and I hung it up. And that was his way of being able to put a stop on it. Like he was like, what is there left?
Yeah, he got the record.
But then he turns right around and says,
you know, there might be an opening for a manager in Visalia next spring.
But you also get that nice clip of Nuke using his fucking interviewing skills. What was the lady's name? I can't remember that's interviewing him. And he's like, that's a lovely name. Like, but he's using everything that Crash told him in the interview.
He says,
a good friend of mine used to say, this is a very simple game. You throw the ball, you catch the ball, you hit the ball. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, sometimes it rains. Think about that for a while.
Yeah, that was a beautiful punctuation.
Yeah, that was
great.
It was
good.
He's like,
then you get the
Sheila. That's a beautiful name, Sheila.
You know, you do have that scene with Tim Robbins, and you know, you realize he's matured. He's sort of bringing everything together, some old quotes into his own character in the bigs, and of course, the final scene is Crash and Annie reuniting their love for baseball, uniting them, obviously. As well as the fact that they're both of retiring age, of similar age, hanging up sort of their both games. Annie admits she is done with the boys, and Crash is done with baseball in the traditional sense. And so they're able to get back. They're able to get together, and the final scene is them dancing in her living room together. Because in the beginning of the movie, in the bar scene, he tells her he doesn't dance. And the whole time, there's a couple of opportunities where he could, even when they're like making love for those few days, you know, she asks him to dance, but he bangs her instead. And finally, they're dancing together in the most awkward and goofy way. And as the film ends, it zooms in on a photo of a baseball player and a news clipping. And the article is about one Thurman Munson, who was killed in a plane crash. And then it just sort of fades to black, which if you don't know anything about Thurman Munson or that incident, like you're just sort of left like, what? Like, what was that last scene? Like, and that's the end of the film.
So originally in the film, there was supposed to be a scene where Annie explains like her origins. So it was like she was, and this is why she is the way she is, especially with religion and shit. But she ended up moving around all the freaking time and losing family and all that shit. And how she ended up loving baseball was nearby there was exhibitions going on, I think spring training or something like that, and she ended up in the stands. And the first time she ended up there was Thurman Munson, and he was he used the cocksucker word, got ejected out of the game, and she got sucked in, so she was in the stands the entire spring training and just fell in love with the ball game from then. So it was Thurman Munson that really kind of
got you.
Glued her
was
to
the baseball or the cocksucking that drew her in?
Men, we don't know what we did.
The scene when Jimmy and Millie are getting married and they have the ballpark wedding and shit like that.
Yeah.
It's really brief or whatever, but they had run out of money. They could not afford to buy extras for that scene.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So like they're about to shoot and Ron Shelton's like, what am I supposed to fucking do? We don't have extras. There's nobody in the stands. This is stupid. We're going to have a wedding with an empty stadium and all that stuff. And the producer's like, don't worry about it. You film the stuff facing away from the stands. When you turn around the cameras, I'll take care of it. So this guy went to a Pink Floyd concert.
Yeah.
He knew David Gilmour, so he went backstage, talked to David Gilmour, and talked him into making an announcement saying, hey, if after this show, we're going over to Durham Stadium and we're going to keep on partying. There's going to be beer and all sorts of shit. So whenever he turned the cameras around,
fucking awesome.
There's a bunch of fucking Pink Floyd fans getting drunk on kegs, and if you like really zoom in, everybody's wearing a Pink Floyd shirt and shit like that. And the band never showed up.
This guy's the smartest motherfucker in the world,
dude, on the planet, man.
And so like that really worked out.
That is awesome.
But awesome. The movie is insanely special to me, and it gets more special the older I get.
Same.
Like it really means a lot more.
I always watch it during baseball season. When baseball is either about to start, has just started, I always watch it, and it just makes me want to go. Like I want to go to a minor league game.
Yeah.
Like
spring training, I have about 10, 15 films that I will watch right before baseball starts. Mm-hmm. And I love baseball. It will forever be my favorite sport. Like there's a poetry about it. There's something special about it that I absolutely adore. I hate the fact that I can't watch my team most of the time. That pisses me off.
You can this year.
Oh, can I?
Yeah, I'll hit you up afterwards.
All right, sweet.
Is For the Love of the Game streaming on anything?
For Love of the Game just got added to Netflix, my friend.
There you go.
Yes.
And this one, for those that want to watch it,
I'm doing that tonight.
If you have Amazon Prime, this one's on Amazon Prime with ads.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And if you let it keep playing, it will directly go into Major League.
Oh, nice. Even better, man.
As someone who's not a fan of this film, I really enjoyed it.
Well, we don't care. We don't care.
It's no my point. My opinion matters. My opinion matters. I drive a Dodge Stratus. So what? So
well, at least you have an opinion about a movie you saw.
Oh my God! I don't need to taste dog shit to know it. So listen, the thing is, like, this movie is much, much more than a baseball movie. There's a lot of baseball aspects into the film. However, it is much, much more than that. I suggest you go and watch it if you haven't seen it. It's excellent. Kevin Costner and Tim Robbins, legendary actors. Also Susan Sarandon too.
Dude,
she killed it. I hated her character, but she's sick. She's such a fantastic
great actress.
Tim Robbins starred in probably the best movie of all time.
Shawshank?
The Shawshank Redemption.
And
I can watch that a million times and I'll never get tired of it.
Yeah.
Based on a Stephen King novella.
Believe it or not, right? That always blows my mind every time I hear that fact. But yeah, everybody please go watch this film. Yep. It is excellent. It's much more than a baseball film, and it's the best of that
Go
too.
watch it. Let's put a button on it with this. Like, we talked about like so many one-liners or so many things in this movie that kind of stuck out in your head. If there's one that you guys can think of that's like kind of your favorite, and the one that I always kind of go back to is when he gives away the pitch and he's like, "When you speak of me, speak well." I don't know why that one, just the way it's phrased, the delivery, I was just like, God damn, that's a good line. Like, love that one. Gibbs, you got one that sticks out?
Yeah, I love the punctuation at the end. It's a simple game. You hit the ball, you catch the ball, you throw the ball, whatever. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, sometimes it rains. It just hits me every time.
Nice. Shadwick, you got one?
Well, I mean, I love the whole monologue that he gives about. I love the pussy, the cock, the small woman's back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But he's so stoic through most of the movie. It's the little parts where he kind of cuts loose and has fun. Mm-hmm. So when he's talking to that batter and he's like, he's stoic for 1 second, and then he's like, I don't know where it's going. I swear to God. It's like the change of pace that really grabs me.
Such a great performance.
Leaf man, bring us home. Which one that, since you watched this, did one stick out to you?
Absolutely, dude. The scene where Kevin Costner calls them up a cocksucker, dude. 10 out of 10, dude.
Yeah,
Baseball and
yeah. Pretty please beg.
Pretty please beg. All right, guys, man. So we're gonna wrap this one up. Be sure again, like, subscribe, hit us with the 5 stars, buy some merch, do all that good stuff. Help us bring Gibbs back.
Don't comment.
Yeah, Chadwick said not to comment, so don't
comment. I just gonna fucking pay attention. You
just don't make Chadwick mad. That's all that matters. And guys, with that, we'll take it over to our Norm Macdonald clip of the week.
Well, there's good news this week from strife-torn Ireland, where a historic peace agreement has just been signed. Gee, I wonder if anyone will celebrate by drinking